And at that
Right.
point,
Like I
you're
said,
like, it's not
like
downhill. I'll be the first. It's not downhill. It's just, it's an
it's a hard.
adjustment.
What is it, a
It's an,
harder uphill?
hold on, hold on. Let me do this. I'm going to log off and I'm going to log back on because you frozen
I
and
froze.
it's like a reverb. So hold on.
Okay.
I'm going to log off and I'm going to hop back on. Okay.
Well, guess I'm here by myself, y'all. Yeah. You never know what you see when you come to a live dope show. I'm telling you, man. Like, you come into some technical issues. But we gonna kick it nonetheless until Miss Parker makes it back. Um, she still ain't left yet. All right, this I do that. She'll be back. Oh, yeah. Don't hit that button. So what's good, people? Nigga, I didn't think y'all gonna see me again this soon. Yet here I am. It is your two-time favorite ATS hottest DJ, the God DJ Agony, also known as Dr. Dope. Well, my motto is simple: on the building. Yo, big shouts out to everybody that came through and kicked good shit with me at Black Sean Groove last night. Just talking, kicking it, politicking, just over some shit and some other shit. Make sure y'all definitely go follow his page and his channel because I think he got a new video up today talking about Ray J and how Ray J is talking about he was Mob Paru, and it's like, dude, when do you have time to gangbang? Because you've been on TV forever, So when do you have time to be out, go out here and be this hardcore banger, and then had the nerve to say that his street name was Movie Star Blood? That ain't the most corny shit. Like no, so yeah, Black Sean Groove definitely has a short on that talking about that nonsense, and so yeah, definitely make sure y'all go check that out and laugh at Ray J as much as humanly possible because that had to be the dumbest shit I ever heard. Yet here we are. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the things my boy big shout out to Antonio Slim said, boy. They gave niggas a platform and then they let them speak, and thus we have the internet where people are just saying anything. We have social media. People are saying anything. Um, but yeah, big shouts out to all the people who came through last night and for that or whatever. We getting the technical side of things underway right now, and then Miss Parker will be jumping back in with us and kicking good shit with us on that thing we know as the planning period. So, I know y'all ain't seen it in a while. Y'all wondering, planning period is where us as educators kind of get together, let our hair back, and talk about some of that stuff we can't necessarily talk about anywhere else. So make sure y'all definitely stick around for that. Make sure y'all definitely hit that share button. Let your peoples know, yo, the planning period has started. We are in here. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So big shouts out to that. Shoot, what's going on with y'all? Like anybody in the chat right now, just shout me a holler. Let me know what you got going on with today, because we on break right now. But God, it just seems like when the break comes, these days fly by. Like we already midweek, going into Thursday. It is a matter of time for I'm back in the classroom, people. And I'm gonna be the first to tell you, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to go back. I don't want to go back. Not right now. I need another week. And by another week, I mean 3. Yeah, that's where I'm at with it right now. So serious. Um, yo, so I just want to throw this out there. Since I'm in here and I'm talking to y'all, I watched some bugged out movies last night on Tubi. Yeah, I watched Tubi, and I watched the Tubi movies, not just I'm going to Tubi to watch the old classics. No, no, no. I watched the hood ghetto movies on Tubi, and I saw some shit last night, y'all. Yo, so there was one, and it's Tubi quality, so the film quality is bad, the acting is bad, the dialogue is bad. It's called Our Girlfriend. Yeah, y'all can already see where that was going. So when is it happening? This one couple, well, this one guy and his wife have a girlfriend who lives in. She's a part of their marriage. She is the part. So this other guy, he decides that he wants to try to emulate that situation or whatever, and him and his wife talking, and they mess around and end up tried to audition girls for their third or whatnot, and that didn't work. So like her best friend was just kind of down for the cause, and it's like sure, why not? But the best friend just kind of started getting a little too comfortable, and you know, act like she wanted the number one seat instead of being a number three, and yeah, it got bad toward the end. The ending, man, it sucked, but nonetheless, it's Tubi quality, so you got to lower your expectations a little bit, people. Yeah, like you're not gonna you're not gonna see a Scorsese level movie on Tubi. It's not gonna happen unless it's an old Scorsese movie. Then of course, like I said, Tubi put hella old movies up there. Mm. So yeah, we got that. Like I said, we got a lot of stuff coming up on the horizon with OTB as far as take my black card is what I'm really excited about. If anybody knows some 30 and unders who would like to come on the dope show and win possible $25, please send them to my inbox. Let me know if you know some 30 and unders, because that is how I'm gonna do take my black card. Now it'd be too easy with people our age. You gotta think. We grew up with Big Mama. But the catch is with the 30s and unders, they grew up with a Big Mama too. The problem was she was just like 38. So yeah, send me some 30 and under people. And boom, just like that, we got Miss Parker in the building.
What's going on?
What's
You hear
happening
me?
with you? Yes, ma'am.
Just trying to, like I said earlier, trying to enjoy. Dude, it's Wednesday. Our break is
Already.
done. Once
Already.
Wednesday gets here, forget it. It's done. It's over. But not complaining. Not complaining. Just enjoying each day.
Yeah,
What's going on, good people?
it seems like these days just feel like days away from work, but they don't feel like off days.
Not this break. I think spring break would feel more like a break because after you come back from spring break, it's crunch time. It's getting ready for
It's
EOG.
it's testing and then it's get them out of here.
Absolutely. So, yeah, but this and the idea that they might remove the winter break as of right now on paper for that great county that I work in, they're looking at removing this break. And I don't think they've really thought this through. I don't think people understand. Even people who have not been in a class, if you have been in a classroom, I'll say within the last 10 years, I don't think you really, I don't think you're processing everything that it takes. Is so much that you have to do before you actually teach your content. So to remove this, and you mean to tell us that we're going to have for one day in January, one day in February. March presents no traditional off
Yeah,
days or anything like that. So you
no
mean to
holiday
tell
in
me from
March.
January we're going to do a long haul all the way until you get to April? I Yeah, you're asking for people taken off for mental health and things of that nature. No, I don't think people understand. You need to recharge your batteries. And I know people who are in our profession say, "Oh, teachers get so many days off." If you only knew, those
Because
days are not days that we're just chilling. Shoot, if you tell the truth, those first 2 days of that vacation, we sleep.
recovery.
We sleep. That's
We are
the exactly.
we
We
are
don't want to
definitely
hear
recovering.
noise. Our names are called 1,000 times in an hour. How is that possible? It is. It
It
is.
happens.
So
It definitely happens.
I mean, really. But what's going on your way? Happy to
Everything's
be
everything is.
on the show.
Oh yeah, glad to have you here. Like I said, I always told you, as long as I got the other side of that screen, you got a seat, man.
That's what's up.
Yeah, man. So let me ask you this: are you familiar with what's going on as far as the schools goes with State Bill 481?
Bring me up to speed.
Okay, so SB 481 came in the presidential election. It was first thrown on the floor last January, and then we voted on it back in November. But they seem to have left out an important detail
Okay.
that they're just now talking about. So With SB 481, it was about homestead tax, homestead exemption, and property tax, and it was going to limit how much property taxes can increase.
Okay.
So for my people who are homeowners, or are um in the process of buying, that's a good thing, right?
Okay. I mean, it's
And
a
then
good thing, but but you know, it's always a catch. I'm
hold
listening.
on, hold on. Before you
I'm
get to the
listening.
catch, and particularly I think about for my old people too.
Right.
Every county doesn't have a homestead exemption based on age. It's like I realize that this great county that you work in and I live in, they it's based on age and income.
Okay.
So let's just say you worked really hard and you got a really good retirement. Guess what? You're not going to be homestead exempt. You're still paying those property taxes. So the catch 22 is it passed during the November election, but each county has the option to opt in or opt out. Now, um, with opting in, that means you're going to take the decrease in the property taxes, but you got to make up for it in another place.
Always.
And so,
Always.
and so ironically, and now I don't want to say ironically because this is not ironic. This is very deliberate. That first place that it's going to come out of, well, one is going to be an increase in sales tax, of course, and then two, that money's going to come out of schools.
Absolutely. That's where
And
they target.
so I
Hmm.
remember the first thing I saw. This was Thursday. I look at this paper, and the first word I saw was furlough. Now I'm a math teacher. I'm not ELA guy, but I know what that word means.
Absolutely.
Words like furlough, words like freezes. There's a lot that has to be decided on, and these counties have until March 1st to get this decided. If you look at the calendar, that's like 30 minutes from now, maybe an
It
hour.
really, it really is.
And so it's
If
gonna be
that.
something. It's gonna be something that's gonna have a big impact on us not very long from now. And I say not very long, meaning like going into the next school year. So I not only tell you about this, but anybody that's what I'm saying watching and listening, like yo, look that up and really hit your council meetings and let them know that you do not want to opt into this. It depending on if you want to what you want to see happen with your schools.
Right.
Right. Because, I saw some people at a meeting and they were older and it was like, well, we don't have any kids or grandkids in school. And, they were more concerned with property tax side of things. And I get that for some, but it's like for the people who do have school age children, and then you look at the people in the profession, that's what I'm thinking about.
And unfortunately, that's the first place that's always attacked. I mean, it's always. I just find it ironic. The one profession that produces every profession is always attacked.
Always.
Always attacked. And then you have the audacity to complain about our off days, take shots at the salaries that are attached to our profession. We have to stay in school longer than most professionals. We
Hmm.
we live our lives, and I don't think people truly understand that. We live our lives in a bubble. So, which is why something as simple as okay, if I take a sip of water, I specifically make sure that it's known that I'm taking a sip of water. Now, keep in mind, I'm an adult. I have I voted every single year that I've been legally able to. But the fact that when it comes to other things in life that we can indulge in, we have to walk a very thin line. We have to almost carry ourselves as if we live in a completely different world from others. However, the very pedestal that they put us on is the very pedestal that they want to kick us off of. It doesn't make sense. We didn't ask for any of this. We didn't ask for the pedestal, nor did we ask for if anything happens, the first thing you want to do is you want to snatch it. You snatch it two ways. You snatch it from your civil service workers, and you snatch it from your educators. Explain like why. Nothing against doctors, lawyers, things of that nature, but weren't come on now. But really, the very profession that produces every profession is always
Hmm.
constantly under attack. Make it make sense.
I got nothing. I got
Yeah.
nothing. I mean, because you bring up doctors, lawyers, ministers.
everything.
They all had to be taught by somebody.
Everything. I mean, there's not one profession. If they could name one, I can't even say if you a hustler, you had to be taught how to hustle. So come on now. There is absolutely nothing that you can do that you don't go through education. I tell my students all the time, all roads go through education. All roads go through it. So
Absolutely.
there's absolutely nothing. If you decide, well, I want to be I'm going to be in the NFL. My things, I tell them, study the NFL now. It's completely different than when I was a kid. When you look at who your poster guys for the NFL are, like 90% of these guys have college degrees. So if you honestly think that you're putting on a uniform and you're a doofus, you are far from. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That world
I mean,
doesn't
because
that world doesn't exist anymore.
the D1 Power Fives aren't just taking anybody anymore.
Not anymore. And
No.
it used to be you find a kid from the hood, if he was, any good, you go ahead and put a uniform on him. But then,
Well, that's
it's
University of
missed it.
Miami.
Listen, I tell people all the time, we truly do not need 50 states. We don't. There's a different type of what that comes from Florida. I don't get it. Like it's crazy to me. I mean, really, there is a different type of what the hell that comes from Florida. We really don't. We don't need. We don't need 50 states. 49 is okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I used to think that, but Florida wasn't the one I was gonna get rid of. Ironically enough,
Who was that? Who's
Oklahoma.
yours? I mean, because like, what do they really do? Or better yet, no. If I could get rid, like maybe Montana. Like, what does Montana really do?
Or let's merge the Dakotas. Like when you go in South Dakota, is it a big difference from North Dakota?
Kind of like with the Carolinas. Is well then again, no, because let me
Mm,
pause.
okay.
Because South Carolina still very well looks like you gonna go somewhere and see tumbleweeds and people with like straw in their mouth and they so that's kind of South. But once you gotta hit North Carolina and you kind of hit Charlotte, Charlotte's kind of cool.
Fun,
So
funny enough, South Carolina's building up. You got Columbia, Greenville. Those places are starting to look real metropolis like. And I think what's funny is the people who are there that are from there, they was like, they doing too much here. And they're moving to the country.
and see, but they don't understand. South Carolina is here's the thing. Everything's changed when they actually got indoor plumbing. When they stopped going outside, going to the good old outhouse, and when they start washing their faces. Soap and water is just beautiful. Indoor plumbing, let's give
And
it
when
up for it.
and when did they do this?
I mean, what, like Thursday? Thursday. But I mean, seriously.
South
I mean,
Carolina is behind. I think it's funny because I listen to a lot of their music. As a DJ, I get shot a lot of music from a lot of places, and a lot of their music sounds like stuff that we was listening to like '03, '06, the latest. They still
a bit,
rah rah get crunk music, and this is like, God, this
a
is
bit, yeah.
old.
Okay, listen. Let's be real. Okay, so let's say if you're having like an exchange of words, and of course, you know how sometimes when people kind of pop off and they want to say, "Man, I don't play. I'm from this place." I'm born and raised. I'm Chi-Town girl. Everybody who knows me knows I am through and through. I live here, but I'm Chi-Town no matter where I am. So,
Oh,
if I go back and forth, I'm from the Chi. You don't want to play. You might say, "Hey, I'm from the A. Hey, we do this all day." What can anyone from South Carolina say? Columbia. What? I'm from that beach called Myrtle. Kicking with the rabbits and the turtles. No, there absolutely
what?
there's nothing cool in South Carolina. Nothing. And I have people who I love dearly who are from South Carolina. And when they say it, it's like, why did you share that with me? Like this doesn't change anything. It's not like I'm gonna look at you and think, okay. They got a little
Like, yeah, I see what you were saying.
no, you from South Carolina, player. No.
That's all I got for you.
That's all. I mean, hey, but I will and then even like my first time going to Myrtle Beach, I'm not gonna lie. I got there and I'm like, this is what this is what they're excited about. Okay, down here at the and I don't mind Myrtle Beach because my mom's first name is Myrtle, but it's like, okay, no. But hey, you gotta be from somewhere. But I would rather, I'll say this. Shout out to South Carolina, because I would rather be from South Carolina than Butte, Montana. Where the heck is that? Like really?
Oh, the one that
Why?
look like butt, but with two e's, well, two
Why
t's.
would you go? Yeah, like why would like really? Who can I'm from Butte? Why did you just share that? That did
I mean, who's
absolutely
from
nothing.
Montana though? Let's start there.
I'm from Montana. No, not okay. Not
Nah,
so no, certain places. No, I mean, no, just go ahead and get beat up because there are certain places that's never going to get you any cool points. And South
hey,
Carolina's definitely one. I'm sorry.
as the
Love,
great
love
Rakim
all my
said,
people, but no.
as the great Rakim said, it ain't where you're from, it's where you at. So I'm
And
pretty
South
sure
Carolina is not that.
everybody from Booty, Montana has moved. I'm sure. It's probably about six
No,
people there
yeah, probably five.
at
But
the
hey,
most. At the
yeah,
most.
but you're right. You got to be from somewhere. I'm not hating on it. I mean, I mean, we're just talking a little trash here, but I don't want nobody to be texting me. Oh, so really? Listen, I
Yeah,
would
because
make fun of
I
you.
got a lot of people in South Carolina as we speak. So I'm just kind of
Listen,
looking at the phones like, yeah, they're gonna watch this.
and
Yeah, I'm
it's
gonna hear
cool.
about
Listen, it's all jokes. But remember, I'm from the shot, so you can't swing. Trust me, or you can, but it's not gonna pay too well. I'm just telling you. Don't let this fool you.
it.
But no, shout out to South Carolina. I mean, really,
Definitely.
shout out everywhere. I mean, because I mean, especially the way we brought this new year in, we just don't have the energy or the space in 2025 to just hate on anything or anyone. But
Nah, I'm gonna
but
be
yeah,
honest. If there was any other time we knew we needed each other, now was that time.
now is that time.
Now is
But
definitely that time.
now is that time. I mean, and even this is how I know that it's serious because I don't even mind Florida hanging around. But I tell you one thing, never
I'm
again.
I'm about 50-50 with Florida. Florida's like to me, Florida's like always on two and a half strikes. Just do one thing and yeah, and I
I
don't
mean,
want to
just
hear it.
right. I
I don't
mean,
want to
yeah,
hear it.
yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. No, no, Florida. Because I think my issue with Florida,
Which one?
right? I think my biggest issue are, especially the guys. Why do you all? I don't. I never understood this. Why do they think they're so tough when you have palm trees around you? There is nothing tough about a palm tree. Matter of fact, they pass out palms the Sunday before Easter. So yeah, come on now. There is nothing. Oh yeah, I went outside. Yeah, I got concrete around me. Yeah, water and palm trees too, dude. I mean, stop it. Just stop it.
I'm gonna be honest with you though. I think it's because um all them Haitians that's down there, they don't realize the beauty of palm trees.
Well, just because we both work in the profession that we work in, and I don't want to attack one race, so I'll go ahead and kind of get off of our wonderful brothers and sisters who are from Haiti. But I'll
Oh
just
yeah,
end it.
it's
I'll
good
end it
people in
with a
Haiti.
stare. Yeah, I'll end it with a stare as to say, okay, there you go. I've said enough. It's just Florida. I mean, God bless them. God bless them.
Florida is going Florida. And I think what's
Yeah,
crazy about Florida, no matter where you are in Florida, Florida is going to Florida.
Florida is going to Florida.
It
It's
is.
going to. It's going to Florida. I
It
mean,
is.
yeah.
There's no way
But hey,
around
hey, what do you do?
it.
At least it ain't South Carolina. Then again, nah, I gotta put cap. I gotta, let me get off. Let me get off South Carolina. You all have done absolutely nothing to me. I have no qualms with any of my people who I love dearly who are from that state. I'm just talking trash. That's it.
Yeah, I got some. Look, I got some relatives up there. I got some very, very, very people close to me that's from up there. So I get it, but at the same
Yeah,
time, I'm gonna talk that shit too.
yeah. I mean, because again, you're not tough. You from South. I mean, you can't even. I mean, even what was the song? Like North Carolina. I mean,
Right.
they never shot it out south. There's a reason.
and they
South
was up the street from him.
Exactly. Exactly. So my thing is, so you be South Carolina can't wave a thing about their head like a helicopter. Only North can do. So come on now, that's a telltale sign right there that South Carolina is just they just South Carolina. It's okay, but at
It's all right.
least yeah,
It's all right.
but yeah,
If
it's all
nothing
right.
else, we talking about a group of black people that survived Storm Thurman. Though you
Yes, they
gotta be,
have.
you
Yeah,
gotta be tough to do that.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Like I say, the more we talk, the more we can see, the more we'll see things where we can say, okay, okay, South Carolina, we got y'all. We got it. We get it.
It was
We
like that
get it.
one documentary Michael Moore made, and he was talking about Flint. But at the end of the song, it said, "At least we're not Detroit."
Let me tell you. And let me tell you about Detroit. Detroit, okay, God rest his soul. My father was born October 4th, 1944 in Saginaw, Michigan.
Oh,
Okay.
not Sag Nasty.
Saginaw, Michigan.
Ugh.
And based off of, if I can remember, Saginaw might be somewhere about maybe 2.5, maybe 3 hours away from Detroit. My father didn't even claim Michigan. He was raised in El Dorado, Arkansas. Where the heck is El Dorado, Arkansas? But that's
Is it
what,
supposed to be El Dorado?
no, it is pronounced El Dorado. He was
Mm.
raised in El Dorado, Arkansas. That is where the Parker side of the family, that's where they're from. And but yet he had origins and roots in Michigan. Even he never claimed Detroit. Detroit is just a different type of city because number one, they think they're a city. They have the filth of a city. But if you ever just look at the flair of folks from Detroit, man, I'm talking about looking just like Mississippi. I mean, long zoot suit. They listen. Shout out to the Lions for actually looking like a team for the first time in
Whew.
NFL history.
In
Although
NFL history.
although you actually lost to a team, can we? Okay, first of all, let's give a shout out to Jaden Daniels being like that guy who can go to a franchise like Washington and turn that place around in 1 year. But let's just point out the fact that Detroit lost to a team that at one time did not have a name. They were called the football team. So we're never ever going to let Washington nor Washington fans ever live that down. That for 1 year you all had no name. It was
But
like, yeah,
but
it was
was
the
it Jake?
football team.
Was it Jaden Daniels that did it, or was it our defensive coordinator who went back to head coaching that did it?
You know what? I have to give it to you know what? It's a combination of both. Because I mean, yeah, you
Because
can't
because
mention
Dan because Dan Quinn left, and when he left Dallas, he took everybody that worked under his staff on that defense with him,
and
and
see
our defense showed this year.
and I don't think people are sleep on him. I don't think people realize the genius they have in Mr. Camp, Mr. Quinn, Dan Quinn. Right. I don't think they
I'm,
understand.
we talking about the guy that created the Legion of Boom.
I don't think they understand the genius. The same way, I mean, shout out to Philadelphia for, bringing home another Super Bowl. But let's talk about the truth of Philadelphia. It wasn't the Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley combination, although I love Saquon. Uh, and I know he's been a rival of yours forever, still is. However, there's one name that when you look at what Philadelphia did this year, there's one name that matters. It's not Jalen. It's not Saquon. It is one guy, and that is Vic Fangio. The man is a defensive guru. And you saw anytime you had a defense that does not allow, first of all, you had two things. You didn't have a cheating referee, and you had a defense that actually studied Patrick Mahomes. He went majority of that game and never made it up the field.
When you look at that though, I'm gonna be honest.
That
If
is
you
Vic
get if you give me two defensive lines that played for national titles from Georgia
Uh huh.
and you put them together, Hell, because I'm gonna be honest, I tell anybody from that Super Bowl, that game was won and lost in the trenches.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but yeah,
Jalen
but
and
look,
Saquon could have walked down the field, but that defensive line made the big difference in that game. I was telling somebody that you know what, Kansas City offensive line is playing like they're mad at Mahomes. I have never seen him get abused like that. In the how long has Mahomes been in the league now? Roughly about eight
uh,
years.
yes, sounds about right.
I've never seen him get abused like that.
Well, and that's and it's so funny. That's where I'll say men and women who absolutely are sports fanatics, that's where our strengths switch. Men are emotional about sports. Women who, like myself, who are sports fanatics, we're logical. And there's some things that we actually see. So you're absolutely right. I mean, people are probably tired of the big head. They're tired of the scrutiny. Because keep in mind, he's not even respected anymore. See, it was the whole hidden joke that he sounds like Kermit the Frog. It even kind of looks like him. Now every time you turn around, there's a Kermit the Frog puppet, something that says I'm here. It's something. He's not even respected anymore. And you're right. For him to throw the picks that he did, for him to get the sacks that he did. See, when your quarterback gets sacked, like mine did, which I don't say his name because he sucks ass, and I kind of want him to leave my fair city because he needs to go. He's just not a fit. He's not who we need, now, nor
I'm
who
be
we
honest
want.
with you. I felt bad for y'all for that because it was just like, who asked for this?
And the thing is,
And to let go of Justin Fields.
every single time Twinkle Toes walks on the field, I don't say his name because sometimes when you say his name, they show up. So every time Twinkle Toes walks on the field, I want to airlift the doodle bomb to Ryan Poe's house. So Ryan Poe's, if this ever gets to you, if you ever get a doodle bomb at your house, you know I was the one. I was the woman that got you. I was that person. No one asked for this. You had when you first of all, in order to know if you want to know anything true about our franchise, and you had people who played for our franchise, one of the oldest franchises. First of all,
Hmm.
let's put some respect on our name. One of the oldest franchises in the league,
That is true.
where the actual owner is the one who was behind incorporating the thing called the NFL. So it all
Mm.
rolled. That's why
So
I
we
talk
talking
crap.
about that original 10, correct?
Exactly. So
Hmm.
so all roads, I talk crap, but all roads go through the shy. So let's go ahead and just paint the picture here. You had every single former Bear from Hall of Famers who we have more than every single Bear minus one who no one's listening to right now because we're looking at him sideways because we don't know which way he's coming right now, and that's good old Erlacher. Everyone, those who played that position and those who understand the city and understand what that organization is. Everyone but one person says trade the first pick, keep Fields, build around him. What did the fan base say? The last game that he played in Soldier Field, and he went out like a gentleman. Beat the forget I had no respect for the Falcons. Beat the crap out the Falcons, and something that happened that never happened. Keep in mind the heavy hitters that have come through this franchise, but yet Soldier Field is just engulfed in just cheers, and they're cheering. We want Fields. The fan base spoke. The players spoke. They even said, "Hey, you're going to disrupt the locker room." They even said, "No, this is not the last rodeo where our boy is not here." And it was so bad to the point where when Poles did us dirty and didn't listen to anyone, what is the what's disrespectful about that? His little raggedy butt was a bear. Now he wasn't one that anybody remembered. He was on the bench. So, but he was a bear. You understand what Chicago means and the kind of city that we are when it comes
Hmm.
to a sports city. And you understand the fan base. And not only that, God rest her soul, we had her for 102 years. You understood the desire of Mama Bear Virginia McCaskey, who we just lost 2 weeks ago, at 102. So
Mm,
you understood the vision. You understood the vision of Papa Bear. You understood the vision of Mama Bear and everything. Everything. Even when you have the family, the widow, and the children of the great Walter Sweetness Payton say, Justin is our guy. You choose to believe hype that was never substantiated. Show
no.
me one, show me one clip where this kid actually did something. He did absolutely nothing in USC but cry on his mother.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, he's a generational talent. And my question was, is he a generational talent or is he this generation's version of talent?
Mm.
Makes no sense because where was the proof? And he went down in NFL history this season. When you're sacked 78 times, how are you sacked 78 times when you only played 16 games?
I'm gonna be honest. It goes to the O line, and I would be a fool to think that O lines when they don't like their quarterback,
That's what happens.
they call
Because
hype. It's just a
keep in mind, this is the same old line that Justin had. Justin last season got sacked 11 times. How do you go from 11 to 78?
I'm gonna be honest. How
It's a
many
dead
times?
cat on the line.
How many times did what's his? Oh God, what was his name? Eagles quarterback.
Jalen Hurts,
How many times did he get sacked? The Super Bowl. If any, I'll say this. If any, it was less than five.
yeah, because I'm trying to think. I don't remember him getting sacked.
You know why? I found this out Monday. Him and Saquon had a deal that they were gonna bring Bud Light trucks to each lineman's house.
And there you go. There you go. And see,
Also, this is some of the murmurings that I heard going on was the fact that Patrick Mahomes' wife is a open Trump supporter.
I'm just going to go ahead and do the blank stare and thought of mentioning her. You know, the thing that killed any interest that I have in Patrick Mahomes and his wife was did you see the video where well hold on, let me back up before I talk about this video. Let me give a disclaimer. Love is love. I honestly do not care. I promise you. This woman here does not care who you choose to love because I love love. I love love. Love is a beautiful thing. In saying that, he's doing an interview. Now, this is his wife, his better half, right? He's doing an interview and he's interviewing her. So he asked a question: what is his favorite cheat meal when he's not, in the season?
I think I remember this,
And
but go
she
ahead.
says fried chicken.
And was dead
Two,
wrong. I think it was something like wasn't it something like French toast or something?
no, Mexican food.
Okay, I
But
remember that.
my question is, why did you have to sing fried chicken? Instantly, when she said that, not only did I see just a lack of intelligence, it's like, okay, at any moment, I might see a little fire around a little cross. It just didn't make sense to me. Like, this is your husband. How do you not know what your husband eats on his off season? And you could have just said, "Oh, chicken." No, she didn't stop there. Chicken
Yeah,
fried steak, chicken fried this. It's like So it's funny that some people, not all, but some people, no matter what you do, they'll remind you. There's always a little truth in the joke. So they'll remind you every now and then how they really feel, what
how
they
they really
really
think
feel.
about you.
So
Absolutely.
so you couldn't just say, "Oh well, yeah." I mean, who doesn't like? You can't go into any banquet, any dinner, and not have chicken. Come on now, chicken's gonna be an option.
It's always on the menu.
Chicken, fish, or steak is always going to be an option. But now, if someone came to me and said, "Girl, we got that chicken," that is when I leave. You know, no, you know,
That
I'm
fried chicken.
that. He goes, "No, chicken fried steak, chicken fried." It's like, can you get past the chicken? Can you get past it? So, but again, So when it comes to her, when it comes to Kermit, and definitely, I was tired of that TNT combination as well. We're not going to say their names. If you say their names, you give them energy. Only person who I feel bad for, because I absolutely, positively, 1,000% love Andy Reid. I think he is just a big old teddy bear.
It's hard to like Andy Reid because we spent so many years as rivals when he was with the Eagles.
But
But I will say, if you want a good 2 minute offense, it starts and stops at Andy Reid.
it does, it does. And the truth of the matter is, you can't win them all, because if we tell the truth, any of these teams in 1 year can flip things around. Look at Detroit. Look at
Look at
Washington.
look at
You
Detroit,
know,
Washington, correct.
so so at any given time, even if history has shown that they have been booty butt garbage, at any given time they can turn things around. Or if you're like my team, any given season, you can have the worst season in franchise history with the worst quarterback in franchise history. And we've had some doofuses throwing that rock. Come on now, we had sexy Rexy Grossman, Rex Grossman, but we got to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman too. But come on now, the worst in franchise
Y'all were
history.
going through an identity crisis around that time because Kyle Orton was around that time too, correct?
We had, oh my gosh, we've had some, we've had some doohickeys at that rock. That's why Justin was such a breath of fresh air, and for so many different reasons. And not just because he was this African American quarterback, but so if we remove the ethnicity, which we shouldn't, but he was poised. He was a you could tell this was a man's man. This was a
There we
young
go.
man. This was a young man who put that team on his back many times. He could interview. He spoke well.
You're
He
talking about
carried himself
Fields,
well.
correct?
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
even when you go back to Chicago, and to me, I always judge the character of a man and character of a woman by the energy of children. Justin couldn't go anywhere without a plethora of children, all walks of life, looking like him and different, screaming his name, crying because, oh my gosh, you are my favorite person. Oh my gosh, when you have little beautiful Caucasian babies plaiting their hair and trying to shave the back because they want to look like him, it was the power of influence. And not only that, if the team did well, is the leadership in him.
Yeah.
If the team did well, he praised the guys. If the team didn't do well, he took the hit.
He took a hit. Correct. I noticed
And
that about him.
oh my
That was like
gosh,
early in his career. We talking like first year,
yes,
second year. He
yes,
already knew what it took or what it looked like to be a leader.
because I mean, I personally believe that he did his research. He did his research. And one thing I like about that young man, because I'm gonna stop saying kid because he's a grown man. What I love about that young man is he's not afraid to advocate for himself. You saw what happened in Georgia, and we won't talk too much about them Bulldogs just because they're just we live here. However, if we're going, however, you could just look at the history of Georgia Bulldogs and you can see those quarterbacks and kind of what they look like. We'll leave it at that.
Hmm.
So he advocated for himself. He knew where he was. Yeah, I'm from here, but I'm not going to get my just due here. And what did he do? He went to Ohio and
Ohio State. Yeah.
transformed that O line. You saw the dog in him then. And then
Hmm.
what does he do? Go to Chicago, do the exact same thing. So the thing that's wonderful but so heartbreaking is, if rumors are true, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be severing their ties with Russell, which, all respect to Russell Wilson. I think he's a great, great guy. However, by doing that, you already know who QB1 is, and he deserves it. I just, I'm just one of those people where I'm just one of those people who, yeah, I was wishful thinking. Let him come on back. But no matter what, he's always a bear. He's a bear in my heart. No matter what, I'm gonna support that young man, whether he is in blue and orange, yellow and gold, whatever. You know, heck, just don't be a Packer. But I don't think that'll ever happen. Yeah, I'm a Cutler. And
I
you
got
know what?
I got my
Oh,
boy
oh,
Big Country in the building. Said nobody like Jay Cutler. I always
you.
say this though.
Let me tell
Jay
you.
Cutler got dealt probably one of the rawest deals. Jay Cutler,
No,
in my opinion, I thought he was a very talented quarterback. Um, with his time in Denver, Kyle Shanahan really purposely wanted him out. He wanted who he wanted there, and it wasn't Cutler, and he showed it.
let me
By the
tell
time
you.
by the time Cutler got to the Bears, it was like you get what you get, guy.
And exactly. So let me tell you about Cuddy. Because let me tell you, I'm probably one of the only Chicago fans that would say this. I'm gonna say it slow. I absolutely loved Jacob. I'm gonna tell you why.
Here's the bad part. Me
Cause
too.
he cause he was an a-hole. And he had the personality, take it or leave it. And the reality of it is he wasn't likable and he wasn't marketable. But you could not deny that man's talent. And you couldn't deny that chemistry that he had with Brandon Marshall.
Mm,
Those two might go in that locker room and cuss each other out, but that was a brotherhood. That was a friendship from Denver. And they
mhm,
came to Chicago. Cutler could do the dumbest pass. Marshall was going to catch it. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. But I think with both of them, because you had Marshall that was the bad boy, and you had Cutler that was the a hole. I just like you said, I think by the time they got to us, they were over it, and uh, they they tried to give Chicago what we quote unquote kind of used to, because come on now, the most notable quarterback in Chicago's history
is
is none
what
other than
McMahon.
is that punky QB. McMahon was known to moon people. McMahon was that guy who went to the Packers and when they won and they went to the White House, he held the Bears jersey. McMahon just did stuff. And that's just the beauty about Chicago. We all have an edge to us. So that was what we loved about those players, no matter where they came from. I mean, come on now, Walter Sweetness Payton came from Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi. So
Hmm.
therefore he had those Southern morals, those values. But come on now, you don't come to the shy and you don't get that bear in you. You don't get that monster in you. And McMahon was just McMahon. So I think it was one of those things where, yeah, we kind of got Cutler too late. If we had him before him going to Denver, if we were that stop versus Denver, I think, yeah, Cutler would have been the guy to get us a championship. I truly believe it, because by the time he got to us, a fly could land on Cutler's nose and he was out with an injury for 6 weeks. So,
That
but no,
happens.
yeah, but no, shout out to Jay Cutler. I've always
I
I've
always
always
liked Jay
loved him.
Cutler though. I
Yeah,
always liked Jay Cutler.
I've always loved him. So yeah, and again, that was one of the main ones too who said, uh, duh, build around Fields. Trade the number one pick. Grab Marvin Harrison. Isn't it funny that everyone that the fans and the former players said to go after, you
Marvin
heard
Harrison Jr.
Marvin Harrison and Brock Bowers. You heard those names come up. Brock Bowers breaks Mike Dicker's record, which is something that a lot of folks didn't do. He broke his record this year. Marvin Harrison did his thing in Arizona this year. Fans even said after that whole debacle of Fields being traded, and after we were ready to go ahead and just find where Poles live and just go see about him, we said, okay, fine. If you gotta go grab somebody, although he's itty bitty, go grab Jaden Daniels. If you're going to grab another quarterback, although let's be real, nobody in that quarterback class was better than Justin.
No,
Everyone said
absolutely
it.
not.
No, but nobody could hold him. They cannot hold a torch to him.
True.
But we said, out of everyone, the one who can, has a little something, let's go grab Jaden Daniels. And our thing is, let him come to Chicago, get a little piece in him because he's real little. But Go get him. Go get him because he's going to do X, Y, and Z. What does that young man do? Rookie of the year and turns that team around with
Mm-hmm.
Dan Quinn in 1 year. So honestly, Ryan Poles has this year to kind of get things together. His quarterback better show up this year. After that, we are calling for his job along with Sugar Grits. He's gonna have to go.
I dig it. I dig it, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, got our own set of problems down in Dallas. We just need to we just need right now. But on the I think it's crazy. We 50 minutes in and still ain't got to the main event. But so,
Let's roll.
so earlier today you came to me and would say, hey, I want to do something with this. And I was like, sure, I got a platform.
let's
Come on
let's
through.
roll.
All right, so roll out exactly what you had, what how you rolled it out to me.
I saw this on social media, and first, again, I like to love to give disclaimers. Shout out to fathers. So many times we hear bad stories about fathers and absentee dads and things of that nature. And although those stories are true, we don't hear sometimes about those no good mothers, and that's fine. This is not about comparing this to that. So we're gonna start off by just giving a shout out. If you are a if you're a father, not a baby, if you're a father, shout out to you, because I don't think people truly understand the beauty that comes from a father. And I do know there's some women who will say, well, um, he left me with children, and then there's some people like, well, my father wasn't around, so my mother was my mother and my father. That's not true. Your mother was a phenomenal mother. Your mother did not pour
Your,
into you the
your,
only way a
I'm about to
father
say
can.
your mother would
She could
never be your father.
she couldn't. I don't care if she was Superman's sister. She was just a phenomenal mother. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. She was not both.
No.
But I will say, so came across this article where it talked about that millennial men spend a lot more time. Hold on, let me pull it up because I want to do it justice. I want to do right by this article because I wanted to kind of discuss, especially with us seeing what we see every day in the school system. Let me pull this up. Hold on, I'm right. Here we go. It says millennial dads spend 3 times more time with their children than their own fathers did. So if we're looking at millennial fathers, that means that their fathers were either Generation X or old school baby boomer. That's about it. So you're talking about that the millennial fathers, they spend so much more time. But here's the thing where it's a it's a two-parter. Number one, shout out. I think it's wonderful because children need to see both parents show up for them. And I'll be the first one to say, and yeah, I heard you say it. Matter of fact, I kind of steal what you say. Uh, Talking about our parents, the fact that we won the jackpot when it came to the parents that we were blessed with. And anyone who knows me know my mother's my favorite person, and my father's my favorite guardian angel. So I won the jackpot with when it came to those two, and and I'm truly the woman that I am because I came through the two of them. So God truly showed me favor from birth. So saying all that to say, we see that millennial dads are spending more time with their children and they're showing up. But right now, it's not, they're showing up, but the proof isn't showing up.
Mm.
So when we look at the fact, the state of education, now, yes, we already have people who are in place who are doing everything they can do to unravel the state of education. That's not the frustration that most educators feel. It's not the fact that lawmakers and people who are in control are trying to undervalue education, but that's been since the beginning of time. The biggest struggle is what we face with our precious students and how there can be with many a lack of discipline. They are overindulged. Many a times they're not accountable. They are given things, but things are not earned. And this is not speaking in a negative way, because I will say that I understand. I understand if you grew up maybe one way, or maybe if you were raised by a Generation X or a baby boomer, maybe you felt like, oh, my dad was too hard. Oh, my dad was this. Oh, my dad wasn't around because he worked 13, 14, 15 hours. But think about what you got from him working those hours. You know, my father worked 14 hours a day,
Mm-hmm.
but within the 14 hours a day that he worked, I still was street smart. I was well rounded. I knew how to ride a bike. When I became a teenager and I bought my own car, I knew I knew how to check my oil, check all my fluids. I knew the importance of checking my oil, checking my fluids. And even as a woman, although, yeah, some people are, oh, well, you just wait for a minute. No, he taught me how to change my tire. So there are so many things that I can say learned from my father. I got the strength of logic from him. I would tap into his perspective of different things. I ran every serious life decision past both of them. It was just my mom. And that man worked like crazy. No, he wasn't there many times for the pageants or this or that, but the provision, the infrastructure, the protection was very much there. So, although I can say, yes, I'm a product of a father who worked long hours, but look at what I gained. These children now who have the fathers who are coming to every single game, coming to, but yeah, I mean, I'm still not that person who's used to men and baby showers. That's just me. I'll show my age,
You said you're
but
not. You said you're not used to men in baby showers.
yeah, it's kind of weird to me. I mean, here's the thing. Let me stop, because I know what does that mean? No, it's kind of weird to me. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just not what I'm used to, because my generation of men that I grew up with and grew up under, these were guys that, okay, the men got together and they did something. And if he was a first time dad, those men poured into him. This is what you need to do. So they had their guy time as he was preparing for his role as a father, and pretty much being that protector and that provider, and understanding that, okay, uh, if you have a daughter, you have a son, you need to educate them both. Don't ever believe that one needs you more than the other. Both your children need you, period. So guys kind of went off and did their thing. That's why you saw you
That's
saw the move, you kind of saw the moves of the men having cigars and things of that nature,
right.
and
I
the
mean,
women.
that's how I'm used to seeing men at a baby shower. It's like,
Right,
okay,
but
they out in the garage smoking, they drinking,
eggs,
they out back with the grill. They're not
eggs.
in the house with the women.
No. Nowadays, these guys are in the house and they open up the booties and the bonnets. Oh look, it's a bed.
Really?
It's a pair.
Well,
It's
if
a
you don't
pair
get
of booties.
outside and put a beer in your hand and a cigar in your mouth.
Listen, but here's the thing, with wisdom and age, I realized that my way is not the only way. So I do have an appreciation for people doing things a little different. I truly do. But if it's something that I'm not used to, I'm not going to indulge in it. I don't knock it. It's just when I look at it, I'll say, interesting. Now, in the back of my mind is, if you don't go find you some business, that's kind of what I want to say. But when you think about the big picture, it's not that serious. It really isn't. But no, I'm not. I'm not used to men kind of being in women's business. I'm not used to that. I'm not, and that seems to kind of be what millennials do and the other ones. But here's the thing, love them all. But going back to the subject, the men are spending more time with their children, but look at the product though. It's just different. And I don't know if it's one of those things where it's going to get better eventually. But I look at some of my students who do have fathers present And sometimes when you see them and you're like, look, you're not doing X, Y, and Z, I would hate to call your dad. Some of them kids would be like 782 955. Hold on. What? So the idea of even calling dad is not
Call,
enough
calling your
to
dad was a death sentence.
listen. I remember one time I got in trouble. I didn't get in trouble a lot in school. But I remember one time I just actually lost my mind. It was a teacher I had my junior year of high school. Anyone who knows me know that love my high school, best city, best high school in the city of Chicago. I mean, of course. But I hated, oddly enough, I hated my English teacher when I was a junior in high school.
They go figure.
But one thing I realized is I had, even he played a role in creating the educator that I am because the very thing that he did not do, which is why to this day I'll say I hate that man to this day. So yeah, I mean I forgive people except him. I got a grudge. So I hate that man. But even with him, he played a role in me being the educator that I am because the things that he did, I make sure that I don't do. And I'll say it. He
said you
was
could said you could learn
he
two things from anybody: what to
right.
do and what not to do.
So content wise, I had one of each. My junior year English teacher, I hated. My senior year English teacher made me accountable and held me accountable. And I consider him to be my favorite teacher. So both of them had such a pivotal role in me loving language arts, studying that in college, and yeah. But the very thing that one did, I made sure to never do that. I made sure
Mm.
to never do that. But anyway, I remember being in high school and I lost my crap on that teacher who I disliked. Lost it on him. And I won't get into get into the particulars. That's for different time and different segment. But I literally, after I calmed myself down, I realized, okay, he's gonna have to call home and let my parents know exactly what I just said because I lost it. I went off on that joker and I did not care. But then once logic took over and I said, oh shit, I gotta go home and face them people. Them two. I don't know about nobody else. I know what I have to go home and face. I remember cracking a joke to someone. And I said, I would rather have somebody to call the police on me than to call my daddy.
Yeah,
I used to, yeah. So the idea that calling your father, the threat of contacting your father doesn't make you come together. I question it. And it's just unreal to me. It really is. So I'm not saying, and again, I'm never saying that these fathers are bad fathers, but where's the proof? These children are and again they don't know their lane. They can be disrespectful at times. You allow sometimes a lot more to kind of get things out of them. But back in the day, dumb generation X and boomers were, hey, you don't speak until you're spoken to. Yes, sir. Now some people might, oh, that's abusive. Was it?
no,
Come on out. I mean, let's be real. Was it? Because I'll say X, we are the last of the, we ain't certain things we're not gonna do. We're not gonna go back and forth with you. We not. So yeah, call each other out. Don't call us out. Because you call us out, that's a fight you just don't want. We are that
no.
last generation.
Yeah,
So
you got X, and then you got that last that top part of Y. So they call it Xenials,
yeah,
which is like I want to say X ends at 80. I want to say Xenials end at like 84, eighty
yeah,
three, 84. So I just happened to catch that part of it. So because I grew up amongst X, you know what I'm saying? Like
right,
if we look at who I graduated high school with, most of them were X.
right,
You know, that who I was in school with. One of the things that that came across my desk that I've had conversations with people who are, late X going into Xenials who are, full fledged Gen Y, whatever. Remember what it's like growing up and how hard it was. And one of
Hmm.
the things that they did, and I say they, me somewhat included, is that we remember how hard it was growing up with those boomer parents. And see, boomer is 50s. What is 40s? 40s
Oh,
is a whole nother thing, isn't it?
no, no. Boomers started because let me see. Because my daddy was a boomer. My mom is a boomer.
Boomer
So
started at post World War II, if I'm not correct. If I'm correct. So that would have been like 45, 45, 46, right?
sounds about right. Hold on, I can pull it up. But yeah, sounds about right though.
Yeah. Just fact check me on what would 42 be.
Okay, let me look it up. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
not mistaken, I want to say they're boomers because my dad was 40. He was 44. He was 44, 1944. My mom is 46, 1946. So let me see. Uh, see various generations. But yeah. While I'm looking it up, yeah, go ahead
So
and
so with that being said, we remember how hard it was coming up with those parents, how strict
yeah,
it was, how um I don't know. Sometimes it was unfair. I got unfair particularly from talking to women who grew up in that era. You know what I'm saying? As teenagers, like they had no freedom and whatnot.
yeah,
Um, and so what ended up happening with the late Xers going into the Xenials and then the Gen Y, they got softer as parents. They got softer as parents because the hard parenting that we got, they didn't want to do that anymore. But in turn, what ended up happening was we bred another generation, which is Gen Z and upward, of entitled, spoiled, blank blank expletive kids. I ain't gonna fill in the blanks. I'll let you use
absolutely.
your own words. But yeah, they can't get into a fist fight. One, if you ever see them fight, it's embarrassing because they just swinging for the heels and missing. But then they don't even fight no more. They just want to run, get the gun. You know what I'm saying? Now, not to say that they cornered the market on gun violence. No, no, no. People got shot when we grew up too. So
Absolutely.
that's not a thing that I'm putting solely on them. But we would rather scrap it out back in the day. We
But
would.
if you tell the truth about it, they don't even have the stamina to actually fight because look at their diet. Their diet consists of
Takis
soda pop and Takis.
and
You
Takis.
gonna go you gonna go maybe 2 minutes at best.
2 minutes
No, I'm lying because 2 minutes is a long time.
in a fight. Hell
Yeah,
yeah,
a
two
long time.
minutes is damn near short of a round.
Exactly.
Nah,
So
they
so
ain't.
yeah,
They
so
not gonna make it that long. If you go all them
not at all.
World Star fights and all them fights be what a matter of 45 seconds. They done
Yeah,
gassed out already.
yeah,
We
absolutely.
talking about a generation that can't fight. I just noticed. I remember, and I know you can remember this. Christmas Day, you out, you driving, you see kids outside on bikes, brand new bikes, and they in hordes. Like you see about 10, 12 kids on bikes that they just got on Christmas Day. And I said the other day, like, yo, I don't see kids on bikes no more.
Because they don't know how to ride them. That's the weirdest thing to me. It's like, okay, millennial dads, you're home. You are present for your children. You are at baby showers. You're holding up presents and booties and all this stuff. But why don't these babies have coping skills? Why don't these babies have scars on their knees? Because as soon as they
Be-
fall,
Because the
I,
thing was,
I,
and this goes into what I was saying, the blows have been cushioned for them.
it's yeah. I
Like,
mean, even okay,
and it's one of those things to where, I remember how I learned how to swim. My brother, Gen Xer, early 70s baby, his idea of teaching me how to swim, he
was
threw
to
me in the
pick
pool.
pick you up exactly
He threw me
and
in the
threw you in
pool.
there.
And then no, before that, his idea was, hey, climb on my back. And he swam over to the deep end and then he went under. And so I could either hold on, I let go, of course, because he went deep, and now I got to figure out how am I gonna find my way to the top.
Yeah,
Then
and
he'll push me in the pool and be like, "Hey, swim to the edge." That
and
was how I learned how to swim.
and understand that, yeah. See, of course, when you in it, you didn't realize that, okay, you were safe. He's not going to let you go under. He's not. But if he didn't toss you in there, then guess what? Now you don't have an opportunity to fear, because now you in it. You have to sink or swim. Now, his presence there, he's not going to allow you to sink, but that dog got to come out of you. Those survival instincts have to come out of you. And then you're going to have to know to, okay, let me go ahead and extrapolate this emotion because I can't process this. And now I got to pull to logic. Okay, I need to relax. My body can naturally float. Let me do X, Y, and Z in order to go ahead and get to the other end. So yeah,
Mind you,
that's
you got to do all that
yeah,
in fractions of a second.
right, right. But the thing is, it's funny that you say things have been cushioned. Look at go to a playground now. Just go to a playground and just look around.
You remember when we used to have all the bark and stuff on the ground? It's like this. It's like this mat. It's not a mat, but that's the best way I could describe it. It's bouncy, and I'm thinking like, God, we should have this back in the day. We would have gone on the monkey bars and played American Gladiators, and then when we hit the ground, we would have broke our elbow because this thing's so bouncy and cushy.
But how funny is this? There weren't a lot of injuries and casualties of the monkey bars because we
Like hell,
figured
it
that
was.
out.
Nah, I gotta disagree with that. Everybody wore scars from the monkey bars.
But okay, but it was one of those things where you fail, and it was more like a whoa. You weren't going to the ER because the most your parents are going to do was sit your butt down and drink you some Robitussin because that cured everything. So you weren't going to go to no ER, fall off the monkey bars. But now look at it. You go to the playground. I took my godson. I took Carl to the playground a couple years back. Like, what the heck is this? Mulch everywhere. Everything is all, like you said, cushiony. The slide is plastic. I said, what happened to the metal slide? That if
Ooh,
you
that
were a
burn
little
on the
girl
way
like
down.
if you were a little girl like me who had on maybe a dress and you whipped down the slide and your butt was on fire going down. But it was
Yeah,
the best
because it
thing
was
else you
already
did then.
metal, and then you had friction on the way down.
Exactly. But yeah, everything has been just so cushiony for this generation. And then we wonder why we have what we have. It doesn't mean that we can't get it right, but it's like pulling teeth. So okay, Dad, you're there. Can you show up now? Because physically you're there, but you're not showing up. Because look at what's going on with our children. No coping. I have never seen so many kids. Now tell me
No,
if
you say
tell,
kids, I say boys, but
well, no, it's both. Tell me, do you experience this in your classroom? I can have
answer is
kids.
probably yes. But I'll let you finish.
I can have students who have been in the same homeroom. Like right now, it is going on February 20th. So by the time we go back, we got 2 weeks left of February. Then we're into March. So I can have students who have been in the same homeroom, my homeroom, since August. So no, we went back in July. Since July. And I can ask them, do you know so and so over there? Who's that? You've been in the same classroom this whole entire time. How do you not know? I don't talk to them. Or you might have a kid who said, can I go to another person's class? Because I don't talk to nobody in here. When did this become a thing that you didn't at least know who was in the room with you? It didn't mean you had to kick him. It didn't mean you had to be friends with them. But what that taught you was to always be aware of your surroundings.
Hmm.
You never know who has what, not in a negative way. You could be sitting here struggling with math, and that kid right over there who stays to themselves could be a genius. There's your tutor right there. Cost your parents nothing. All that
Hmm.
costs you to do is just move your seat and sit by.
See, the thing
Bam.
is, they don't know how to use their resources because
No,
it's like one of those type things. I got mine sitting in pairs. Miss T, I need a pencil. Did you ask your neighbor? And then you hear crickets. Meanwhile, the neighbor's sitting over there with a stack of paper like this. Did you ask them for one? Maybe they'll
Yeah,
give it to you. You want to leave Miss Stevens alone for a second? Just maybe. I don't know.
I don't. I don't know. The first thing I do when a kid asks me, "Sorry, you got a pencil?" I look at them. I look down at their feet, and I look back up, and I go, "Wow, that's interesting." The best part, but no. As explained to me how you have $216.85 on your feet, but you do not possess a pencil that you can go to dollar, not even Dollar Tree, $1.25 tree, inflation. So you can't even go to $1.25 tree. You get a pack of at least eight for $1.25. But you have on $216.85 on your feet, but you don't have a pencil.
You
I
know what?
need you to
It's
make this
funny.
make sense.
I got in trouble for that. So early in my career, what I would do if I had to loan you a pencil, I want a shoe as collateral.
Absolutely.
Give me a shoe for that. I got in trouble for that.
But and again, because now here's the thing, the whole purpose of that was to teach responsibility. Because again, these kids, it means nothing. How many times do we put pencils? That's another thing. Why at our level, we both are middle school educators. Why are they writing with pencils anyway? They don't, they should be writing with either black or blue ink pens. But then what
But here's
happened?
the thing: I teach math.
Right. Pencils were only used for three different classes back in the day: math, art, and if you took something that had graphic, that was it. You were supposed to have a pen, and you were supposed to have, and it was supposed to be either blue or it
Or
was
black.
supposed to be black. Because
Uh huh.
you needed to know. I mean, yeah, everything had to be formal writing. But now we have pencils. And of course, I pick my battles. So now I have pencils. I used to be against it when I first came to education. No, you will not hand me anything that's in a pencil. I will throw it away. And then I realized I'm fighting a battle that I don't have to fight. This I'll let them have. But I remind them this was not normal. But because again, if you made a mistake and you wrote with a pen,
Had to
guess
start
what?
over.
You got to start over.
Let's start
You got
over.
to start over. And it taught us to slow down. It taught us to perfect it as well as we could the
Take
first time.
take your time. Pay attention.
But now we put a pencil in their hand and oh, I messed up, and they'll just erase and they'll erase all those different markers on the paper. There's no pride anymore. They hand it in. No, 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 ma'am, no ham. But
I
but
think, and that's another thing too. Not just the fact that we as parents, we as late X to Xennial to millennial parents have made it softer, but society has too. Because like certain things we used to do or certain thing that was done to us, that's considered bullying now. It's considered trauma. And like God forbid a kid gets pushed in the pool and told sink or swim. That's traumatic now.
right.
Um
Oh
like
my gosh, oh my gosh, their mental health. And it's like, listen,
you
and
triggered them.
yes, and understand there are people that have real living diagnosis and they do battle with various levels of anxiety and depression. So for them, that's why I don't, out of respect for those who walk among us, who fake a smile, who sometimes they can't go to sleep at night because their brains are racing, those minds are racing, and they can't shut down. And shout out to them. That's why I don't use that old mental health lightly. That is disrespectful to people who battle with that and they didn't ask for it. So, but just because you didn't get your way and you melt, oh, what their anxiety? No, that's not anxiety. They're a brat. They're not held
And
accountable.
that's what I'm saying. It's
So
like,
no.
so go back to what you just said. It's like literally people have taken mental health the, the same way, what I'm saying, certain demographics have taken civil rights and moved it to their favor. Now we have a whole generation that's taking mental health and it's like, oh, this is traumatic to my mental health. Why? You just got your ass whooped. Like just deal with it. You take it. Only thing you did when you got your ass whooped back in the day, you took a nap and got up and gave some good ass whooping spaghetti.
There you go.
Spaghetti
There
was the
you
cure all after
spaghetti
an ass whooping. It
is
always was.
everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
But here's the
Absolutely.
thing. But even if you got into a fight, if you lost that fight, there was still a lesson there. If you lost the fight, but you stood up for yourself, that other party had no choice but to be respectful to you. The goal wasn't necessarily winning the physical fight. It was winning the respect. It was commanding the
That
respect.
that was the mental fight.
Right. So if I have to run 10 with you, but at the end, we're gonna walk away. We've gotten that out. You good, I'm good. We don't speak on it, we keep going. Yeah. Even if you took an L, the fact that you stood up for yourself, the fact that you didn't back down, the fact that you're not backing down, you didn't take a true L if you think about it, because you walked away and that person has no choice but to see you as an equal.
Here go the
Or
thing.
or,
You still
or
took a little L because you got your ass pieced up before you got that respect now. And you might be wearing some of it home. You know what I'm saying? That I might.
I mean, yeah, but what's crazy is nowadays I saw something recently that just it did something to me mentally where, and of course, I can't give all the particulars, but I've
Understand.
never in my life seen a young person so fearful that when they were backed against the wall, they just shut down and they allowed everything that was coming at them. They allowed every blow. They allowed every blow, everything. They allowed it to connect. And it was the scariest thing because I've never seen someone that was just so fearful where they shut down. Typically for us, if we were afraid of something, that's when we swung harder.
That was the
We
fight
were
or
going
flight.
right. We were going to come out of that. So when
Either
I
that or, like I said, there's the flight part to where you got some folks you didn't know they ran that fast until they got confronted with something adversarial to where it was just like maybe they knew I can't fight, but I'm gonna get away from it so I don't get beat up, and they will
right,
haul ass, and they will
but
run so fast you wouldn't see them for 2 days.
but here's the thing. But here's the thing. If you had one of those kids and you ran home and you had a mother like my mother, or you had a father like my father, and they found, hold on, you ran from who? Then the parents got involved. The parents didn't tell you, hey, little boy, little girl, go get your parent. And it wasn't that because see, these parents, oh well, I fight for my children, and you're wrong, and you need to go to jail behind. That's foolishness. But old school parents used to say, go get your mama. And at that point, hey, our kids got beef. And they've just made a decision that words not gonna cut it. Your child just takes my child home. I don't need you to lecture. This is what's gonna happen. They're gonna run a quick five. You stand here, I'm gonna stand here. Because our presence means no one else jumps. And they're gonna go ahead and get this
Yeah,
out.
we're gonna let them shoot the fair one right here.
Exactly. They're gonna,
Hmm.
they're gonna get this out. And once they get this out, we're done.
It's done.
We're done. And that's how I'll never forget. True story. I was an adult, and I remember for whatever reason, growing up in Chicago, I grew up on a street named Justine. So in our neighborhood, we had Ashland, which was at the main street. The block over was my street, Justine. The next block was Laughlin. That's where a lot of my friends and family and my godmother lived. The next block was Bishop, and the next block was Loomis. So for whatever reason, there was always an issue. Now Justine and Laughlin got along, but there was always an issue with Justine and Bishop or Laughlin and Bishop. It was just interesting. So one particular year, when I tell you the young people, now I was grown at this point, and our young generation is younger than me. These niggas were fighting, and I can't even tell you why they were fighting, but it was a weekend of fights. I mean, they started maybe Friday afternoon, and another fight break out down the street Friday night, and it was just crazy So now keep in mind, if it happened in this day and age, oh, adults going inside the house, or they're going to act like, oh my gosh, we don't see this. No, 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 no. Them boogers were scrapping. They were fighting, fighting, fighting. So finally, it got to Saturday morning. I was at work, and I'm glad. Well, I was kind of mad that I was, but here's the thing. True story. Saturday morning comes around, and the beef is still very much there. So there was a gentleman. There was a representative from Bishop that met up with a representative from Justine. Men, two men. They come together and say, listen, our kids are fighting. You know, whether or not they are ours biologically, all these neighborhood kids are ours. So Justine got beef. Bishop got beef. Let's go ahead and just let them get it out. So who happens to have their window open and hear all of this? Our window was open, and who hears this? None other than my mother. When I tell you, if you go to our old neighborhood, if you say the name Parker, it carried, and it still does, a lot of respect. A lot. My mother came on that porch, and when she came on that porch, everybody kind of looked up at her. And she stood out there and said, here are the rules. You're going to go ahead and do this. This one, go ahead. And you can do it right here in front of my house. You're going to go ahead and get this over with. So, so you got person from Justine, you got it, okay. Young man from Bishop, yes, ma'am, all right. You all go ahead and handle this. My mother stood right there. A thing, see the woman. She's Mrs. Parker. That woman, but see again, she a G. She stood out there and let those kids have that last. They had to get it out. They had to get it out because the rules were understood. Once this happens, it is done. It is going to
Mm-hmm.
forever. It's done. It's over. You're not talking about it. There's no retaliation. Whatever happens, happens. And I remember her telling when I got home, remember her telling me that when before they discussed everything, the police had drove by, and she kind of waved and says, officer, we got it. And the men did too. The man goes, yeah, officers, we got it. And what did they do? 10 to 4, and they pulled off.
Pull it off. See, you gotta
Because
think of we gotta think of the times we live in now to where go back to something you said, and mind you, the hood had its own rules and its own politics.
your own
You know what I'm
rules.
saying? So one big shout out to my L up in the building. What's
What's
happening
up?
with you?
What's up, lady?
I ain't seen you in a long time. Like damn, I ain't know you still knew what we was. We right here. Dope show. But one of the things like hood politics were a thing that were real. We not only politics, but we policed our own to where, like I said, with no official title, the representatives, which I mean sounds like kind of how our congressional system worked, they went to the White House. They said, we got this problem, White House. And White House said, well, shoot, this is what I'm passing down. So we gonna get this out and it's done. And the thing was, guess what? After that, it was done. Nobody went to the trunk. Nobody flipped the mattress. Nobody went under the couch cushion. It was
It
it
was
was done. But
it
here's the
was
thing though.
done.
One of the things about this generation, let's go beyond the ass whooping, okay? Go beyond that. They can't handle losing anything. They're supposed to win. And what happened with my generation versus theirs, which we're about too deep at this point because we done went through Z, we done went through Alpha. Like now, I think they're about to start Beta. The
Yeah,
kids that are now born either this year or next, it starts Beta. But between the end of Y, Z, and Alpha, they can't lose. So what ended up happening to keep them upset from losing, rather than making them get better, they started lowering the bar. The bar has been lowered to where I never forget there was a kid. We're playing Blook It one time, and I had to shut Blook It down and turn it into some book work because he spazzed because he was losing
yeah,
and
yeah,
he couldn't handle losing booklet. Now, mind you, I only throw out one piece of chocolate to the winner. It's a little bit of snicker like this, and
yeah.
he wanted to fight over that. I'm like, yeah,
Because
you just cost these folks book work because you can't handle losing. It's something so simple. But I
be,
mean, I look at things like sports. I look at you know what I'm saying, one of my favorite things, the video game community. I look at just this generation when it comes to fights and how they handle it. They'll lose a fight, then they have to go to IG, then they have to like they'll go to the mattress, and it turns into a whole thing, just losing a fight. Now, okay,
Or
I'll say this, even with my generation, did they take it right on the chin and losing the fight? No, what end up happening, rather than elevating the level of violence, hey, give me my run back. So now we gonna fight again. You could possibly get your ass whooped again.
again,
Cool. I'm gonna come back tomorrow. But they're not coming back with no gun, they're coming back with no knife. We coming back with hands to do it again. And
yeah,
after a while, the other dude's gonna you're gonna either finally win, or the other dude's gonna be like, hey man, come on, man. It's all
yeah.
good. We done here. It'll never
But
happen. We done.
here's the thing. Why is it okay? Again, our generation, and see, I'm X through and through.
Right.
But our generation, there were lessons behind losing something. It wasn't the end of things. If you lost this game, you at least played the game. And the question was, did you do your best? If you lost and you did your very best, then okay. That L wasn't a true L.
That's not enough
You
for them though. They gotta win. Not
yeah,
understanding that there's only one winner at the end of the day, they gotta win somehow. Think about it like this. Okay, think about it like this. Let's go to sports. LeBron James to win jumped on a team with two guys from his same draft class, both came out top five with him. To win his first two rings, rather than get better, maybe draft some better guys, he jumped on a team that was already on his way to being good.
and see, that's the reason why when I don't even listen. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll say it because I love giving disclaimers because people love to misinterpret what you say just because they want to. But I don't even get into the conversations when LeBron is mentioned. I just walk away because my
Because
thing
see, hold
is
on, hold on, hold on. First of all, time out. Speaking of disclaimers, you can't. You were in the city with the Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Happy
exactly
birthday as of a couple of days ago.
February 17th.
That was okay, 15
So
minutes ago. But I mean, you can't, there's no arguing with a person who was there at the
and who
United Center.
saw it, and not
That's
only
what I'm
that,
saying.
let's tell the truth. It was an embarrassment. I'm a Chicago girl through and through and through and through. It was an embarrassment at one time to wear a Bulls jacket. They were that terrible. So when Michael came to the city in '84, we didn't get the first championship until the '90s. So
91.
understand that he didn't come and instantaneously the Bulls were, oh my gosh, that team. It took time. He had to get the right people around him. We had to get the right mindset. Everything had to,
I mean,
everything
but
had to come together.
if you look at
But
the 80s were stacked too.
what was but during that time, you understood you had to go through the process. This wasn't that I don't even enjoy watching the NBA anymore. And being a Midwest girl, basketball's always been, the quote unquote favorite sport. I mean, I love football. I'm more of a football person now because the new NBA makes my stomach turn. And because I love the sport, I'll still look at the
I'm,
All-Star game and things of that nature because at least
because
at that point
because truthfully, if we talk about college, Big Ten basketball was bigger than Big Ten football at one time.
it was.
It
But
it,
look,
it definitely was.
look at what has happened. Now, it was a time where okay, the whole big three. So let's think about the big three with Chicago. I don't think people understand how much how fans cringed at the idea originally in the late '90s when they threw it out there that they were considering Dennis Rodman. I don't think people understood how the fans were like, "What are you all doing?" Because all this fake, oh, I'm fake bad. I'm about no. Rodman was that guy. Scottie Pippen to this day has a scar under his chin and under his and right there by his shin, all courtesy of Dennis Rodman.
Bad
Because
boys era.
Rodman either punched him, and one time he threw him over a set of threw him over the bleachers. Rodman used to just whoop ass because it was Tuesday.
That whole
So
team was like that though.
yes, so you bring him to Chicago, but keep in mind that Jordan, him being the guy who he was by this time, we had 3 rings. We did the repeat. We had the first three-peat. Then Jordan goes away to pursue his dream of playing baseball. And at that point, 23 is retired. Because remember when he first came back, 23 was still retired. He
Then come
came
back
in
to
with 40,
45.
came in with 45.
Mm-hmm.
And 45 was like, 45 ain't 45. And he pulled his jersey out of retirement and then he retired again. But
Horace Grant said that when Orlando beat 45 in the Eastern Conference Finals and went on to play Houston, they were excited because they was like, "Yeah, we beat Jordan." He said, "No, y'all beat 45.
you
That
beat
ain't
45.
20. That ain't
Right.
23."
No.
Remember Horace Grant when he went to Orlando?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah. So
he told him, he was like, "No, y'all beat 45. Y'all didn't beat the 23."
no, 45 was a little different because when he came back, we didn't get right back on it. You needed something else because he did something that you didn't really see. He retired and came back. And when he came back, he was he was a little off. And even during that time, Scotty went
He had to get his legs back underneath him.
exactly. And he
Hmm.
just kind of embarrassed himself playing that darn baseball. But we're gonna leave it alone because he's Michael Jeffrey Jordan. We love him.
But he played for
So
the White Sox though. That counts.
he sure did. Sure. Anyway, so so they go and they pull in Dennis Rodman. And at that point, everything kind of makes sense in terms of he's this, he's that. But Jordan went to Phil and says, "Can you control him? Can you handle him?" Phil says, "Oh, I got him. I got him."
I thought it was the other
And
way
then,
around.
no, no, no. Jordan went to Phil Jackson because Jordan did 2 things. He went to Phil and said, can you handle it? Can you? You the coach. And Phil let him know, "Oh, yeah, I got it." And then he went to Scotty, his right hand man. "Hey, you good? Because this can work. Are you okay? Because if you're not okay, this doesn't happen." And Scotty says, "Absolutely. Because we know, despite what has happened, we know what he can bring to the table." When I
Hmm.
tell you the hoops they jumped through to keep Rodman level, and Rodman was going to Rodman, and he did. I
Yeah,
mean, there was
he asked what to take a week vacation to Vegas, and he was gone for like a month.
no, 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 no. It was no. Oh no, it wasn't that long. Had supposed to have taken maybe a day, and was gone like the weekend. And Jordan flew and went and got him. Yeah, but he was
I thought it was longer than that because he had
uh,
time to get married in the midst of that.
but he married himself. So keep in mind, Rodman
No,
got married.
The Carmen Electra marriage.
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, when he married Carmen, I think that was during off season. But now when he married
I thought that was
himself,
I thought that was on that weekend binge when he went to
mm-mm,
Vegas and yeah, like he didn't come back for weeks on end, and he pops up with a hurricane wearing pajama pants and then just jumps in line and starts running with the team.
I don't. Again, I don't think it was no. I don't think it was that long because one thing about Dennis, he loved the game. So although
But
he was going,
he missed some games though.
don't remember him. And again, when he got there, I don't think I ever missed a game watching the game. I no, no, I don't think he missed any games because I know that Jordan wouldn't have allowed it. He went and got him. But I mean, everything kind of is kind of like running together. But yeah, but
Mm,
Dennis was a lot. But there was never a better three-peat, never a better big three. The things that Scotty took off Jordan so that Jordan could do what he could do, and you knew, guaranteed, if a ball went up and it didn't go in, that rebound, you knew 99.9% sure it's going to be in Rodman's hands. You knew it. You knew it. And but again, that's what I come from. And even Jordan being argumentatively one of the greatest to ever do it, even
Ever.
when he came back after retiring, he wasn't himself. He needed something else. And then when Rodman came, it just kind of sealed the deal. We had
Right.
what we
But
needed.
there was but let's go back to 80s Jordan, right? And we were talking about how stacked the 80s were because at that time it could have either been Portland, it could have either been Detroit, it could have damn sure been Boston, and then there was the Lakers. Lakers
Yeah.
won Lakers won 5 rings in that decade.
Hmm.
Boston won
Oh,
3 of them. You see
yeah.
what I'm saying?
I
So
mean,
and Detroit won what 89, then they won another one in 90. At no
that's
point did Jordan say, "Man, I ain't doing nothing here in Chicago. I'm gonna go join the Lakers.
never,
I'm gonna go play for the Celtics."
never,
Like the Celtics, it was so bad the Celtics had to find an answer for Jordan. R.I.P. to Lynn Bias,
never,
it was
never,
no point in that said, "Oh man, I'm doing too much." Because like you said, Jordan didn't win his first ring to 91. Jordan was drafted to the city in 84. 7 years.
84. He put the time in. And that's the
Yeah,
reason
but there
why.
was never a point to where Jordan said, "I'm not winning, so I'm gonna go get with winners." But this
Never.
breed we have now, this is what they do. Rather than I'm gonna go with the team I'm with, and we're gonna grind it out. Okay, I'll give you another example. A previous high school I worked at, they got to remain nameless because of
Absolutely.
legalities and shit.
Absolutely.
I remember that they had the opportunity to have a decent basketball team, decent. And nobody said they were gonna be state champs, just
Uh-huh.
decent. They don't understand that, you know what? If I'm a good player on a decent team, I would stand out more. So now all these kids are talking about, oh, I want to transfer. I want to go to MLK. I want to go to Langston Hughes. I want to go to Westlake. I remember I had to ask that boy. I said, "You don't go to Westlake to do what? Be on the beta club?"
Sit on that bench.
Because I know you don't think you just gonna leave this school and go to Westlake and you starting. Westlake puts out pro athletes at least once a year.
At least.
At least once a year, they putting out a pro athlete. And you think you finna come from here and you finna go to Westlake and start? You finna go to Westlake and they gonna forget your name. Your best bet is to stay right here. But once again, they don't have the mentality of I'm gonna make the team. This team sucks. I'm gonna make the team better. Their mentality is I'm gonna go to a team that's already good.
Yeah.
And it's like nah, like that goes back into the whole entitlement thing.
But
Um,
also too, look at with that mentality, look at everything that has just hurt us as a people, in society, period. You have, because of that mentality, more is a high number of divorce rates because why? No, nobody's fighting anymore.
they want to
Nobody's
go to a
fighting.
winning team.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you have people who are. I've never seen so many unemployed people when there are so many people hiring in my life.
They giving out money now. I'm be honest with you. That might be the one silver lining when it came to the pandemic. They start giving money out.
Yeah, and yet you still have people who just won't work. I don't understand it because you don't
Won't
want to put
work.
the
Now, if
time in.
you can't,
It's a
health
difference.
wise, that's
But
different.
when
But
you
won't work,
don't
just will not punch a clock and they
when you
giving
don't
out money.
want to, when you don't want to work. And it's crazy to me. But that's the mentality that we have accepted. We've accepted it. So I can't just,
I,
here's the thing.
I
I
think part
can't
of
just
us I think part of us bred that too. Like I said,
we did.
in trying to cushion it for this next generation so it won't be as hard, we try to make it so We back.
Hey, you good? Okay.
Yeah, but I feel like part of this we have to take blame for, and I say
We do.
us because I mean X has to be a part of this in a sense because X got kids out here too.
And here's the issue with X. Here's the issue that I have with my generation. And I'm calling us to the carpet. We stopped mentoring. We stopped talking.
You said the
We
same thing
start
I was gonna say, but you
we
used different
started
words.
we started accepting mediocrity, and we started saying, oh well, they grown. Now bull dookie. My mother, I don't care how grown I am, if I'm getting ready to do something that goes against my upbringing, goes against my morals, goes against whatever, I can't. Well, mama, I'm grown. No, she's going to make correction. I don't care. It could be from my attire, it could be from what I say, where I go, whatever. She's going to still make correction. And you know what I do? I listen. Because why? Wisdom tells me she's been there before. Wisdom tells me that she might be onto something. And even if it's something that she presents me with, that if I don't agree with, I can respectfully agree to disagree and we can have a conversation about it. But I always take heed, I always listen. We, as Generation X, we didn't do that. So now when you have these millennials that just throw tantrums for no reason, who are just so angry for no damn reason, we have to own that. This falls on us because boomers educated Generation X. We didn't. We let them figure it out. See, the one thing that see was odd to me is a lot of us, we might not have done maybe the physical discipline where the spanking and all that different stuff. Maybe we didn't do that at the level that our parents did it.
Oh no.
But we were so busy. Generation X was so busy trying to give their children, our children, what we didn't have. We failed to give them what we did. So now, all of this entitled, all of this, you don't know how to speak to each other correctly. Uh, just pretty. I mean, our young ladies walking around here. It used to be a time when I was in my 20s. I remember 40-year-old women saying to me, enjoy your youth, enjoy your beauty right now while you have it. You enjoy it. And a part of me used to think, so when I turn 40, I'm gonna get ugly. I mean, I don't understand. But they would say, enjoy it while you have it. Enjoy it while you have it. But those women, it was like an honor almost for them to kind of pass the torch to the 30 and the 20-year olds that you saw, and we were just vibrant and everything was perky and we're perky, all that stuff. And they passed that torch to us. When I crossed over into my 40s, the biggest thing that troubled me was I didn't have anybody to pass the torch to. Why do these
Mm.
20 and 30-year olds look so old, look so tired, look
But you,
so worn?
I think what's
Who
crazy
am
about
I
it, you
passing the
flip the
torch
other,
to?
you flip the other side of the coin, and the 40-year-olds are dressing like the 20-year-olds.
Versus appreciating the fact that, now, one thing that I will say is Generation X, I think we have aged better than any generation because now, which I find it funny sometimes where my inbox goes off and I'm like, boy, what stop? I find it hilarious that you got 20 and 30. Boy, you could be my child. What stop? However, aging is a beautiful thing. I'll give a shout out to our generation. I don't think anybody aged as wonderfully and more beautiful than Generation X. I truly don't. I truly believe it. But it's scary to look at our millennials and the zennials, and then you got alpha and all that stuff. It's just upsetting because you're like, wait a minute, hold on. We can't pass the torch. Where's the femininity? Where's the masculinity?
man.
Where is it?
It's
We
like it's
did
gotten to a
this.
point to where one those polarities of have switched to where dudes is acting more emotional than females, and then you have females that want to stand up like dudes. So it's like we got
It's
that we got that issue.
and,
Um,
right, and keep in mind, this has nothing to do with sexual preference or orientation.
no, no, no,
Nothing
no.
to
I'm
do
not.
with
I'm
that.
not talking
Nothing to do
about
with
that.
that.
I'm talking
Oh,
about
absolutely.
in demeanor, and then
Right.
like I mean, and then we let's go into drug culture. Like I mean, I remember at a time if you did anything stronger than weed, we made fun of you and called you a crackhead. Now they out here pill popping like crazy, snouting powder, and it's like it's the cool thing to do. It's like no, you a junkie. So
Right.
yeah, these young babies that went through the pill era, popping Zans, popping Mollies, popping perks, geeked out they damn skull.
It's but
Yeah,
we have to, that I think that's one of the reasons too why I did go back into education, because I can't sit up here and complain about something that my generation had a hand in creating. If I'm going to talk about it, at least let me hop in there and try to do what I can do to right this wrong. Because again, we stopped those conversations. We stopped sitting at Big Mama's feet. We stopped that.
you know why? Big Mama got a lot younger over the years.
Big Mama like 23,
I was gonna give her 35.
35. I mean, yeah, I know 30-year-old grandparents.
I remember when grandmas were legit old, like older
Yes.
women.
And even if they weren't older, because think about it. Yeah, my parents' generation, yeah, my mother was a wife at 17 and a mother at 18 going into, well, because she got married at 17. The very next month she turned 18. But my parents were teenagers when they got married, 17 and 19. And then when they became parents, my mother was, yeah, 18. She was 18 and my dad was 20. So they were young. I mean, they were babies. They were babies, and but but my daddy was working. So the generation, although the age was the same, the responsibilities were just so different.
Well, because your dad got married at 19, he was probably working by 13.
My daddy graduated high school early. He was
No, I'm
very
saying,
smart. Yeah,
I'm
well,
just
he
saying,
graduated
like
at 16.
they started working then anyway. Whether you were still in school or not, there
You
was a
went to work.
shovel. You could carry a shovel around and go dig a hole and go make a day's living.
Oh yeah, you went to work. You went to
Hmm.
work. You went to work. I mean, my dad worked, and then of course my mom was very much domestic. Now she did go back.
Oh damn! I was actually trying to hit it. Well, shoot. Oh, hold on.
I'm here.
I just say you done popped up in a whole nother box.
I see. Right, right. I'm still buffering,
I about
but
to say I kicked the other you out there.
it's cool. I'm here. But yeah, me and my mom, she later went back to school, and and got her and was traditionally educated, first one in her family to get her college degrees. But yeah, but during that time, no, the men they were working at 15, 16. They were working. And of
Working
course,
like
right,
hard work.
yes, they were working. And not only that, these were men that were, you got in at the entry level and you worked and you build your way. Now these kids coming out of school thinking that they should automatically make this, and they'll go from this job 2 years, that job another time, this job. And the thing is, in your mind, you feel that you're entitled to, but what are you learning? You're not earning.
And
You're
I'm thinking not more so what are you learning, but what are you putting in?
right.
You
The
can't learn anything being somewhere 2 years. Like you'll get a little bit of it, but no, like it takes time.
It but
And I had to tell a coworker this who came in as a para and thought that they should be running the classroom in the next year. I said, no, you gotta get some papers behind your name. You gotta get some scars on you. You gotta be done did this. Like I sit here and I talk about it and I joke about it, but I've been just about everything in the school system between except I've never served lunch, I've never been a janitor, and I've never worked in an office. Other than
okay,
that, if it's out there, I've touched it.
listen, who you tell? You know,
Multiple content.
but here's the thing. It's funny that you say that. Let's talk about our field because heck, we can. Remember, there used to be a time where back in the day, your admin, your principals, they they were compiled of people that were in the classroom 15, 20 years. They were certified in almost every content.
Hmm.
They had
Could teach any class.
they could go into any room and teach any subject. They
Hmm.
were true educators. Whether or not they had a degree in education, they were true educators. They did everything that they needed to do. I mean, many times they would be teaching while finalizing undergrad and things of that nature. But they got in and they worked their way up. So by the time you became an administrator, you knew it. You knew this job and you knew that craft like the back of your hand. Why? Because you've experienced it. You knew what it felt like to be that teacher, that maybe your voice wasn't heard, so you had to go ahead and kind of make things happen. You were that person. Nowadays, you got people who go to school, get their bachelor's degree, and within 4 years, hop in there and want to be a principal. Who are you leading? You don't have enough of anything. You don't even have you still got a little milk behind that right left ear. Who are you leading? First of all, you don't even have the people skills to problem solve. You don't. You haven't been through anything. Now, I will say, people who maybe have come from other professions and you crossed over, that's a little bit different because, yeah, you got
You
that
have those
leadership somewhere else.
those transferable skills as they call
Absolutely,
them.
absolutely. But here you are, you 27, and all of a sudden, well, I applied to be a principal. What? 27? So you mean to tell me just 10 years ago,
You was
you had
graduating.
to just 10 years ago, you had to raise your hand to ask for permission to go to the bathroom, and you gonna think I'm gonna let you lead me?
Nah,
Yeah, okay.
I need you to
No,
have some scars on you.
exactly.
You need some scars on you. I need to see some papers behind you. And that's what I
Yeah,
had to tell the sister was like, no, like it don't work that easy.
it
It
doesn't.
don't work that easy.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be knowledgeable of the content or the craft itself. You can't come to me. Now, you might come with some great ideas. I'll say that because I will say I have met some brilliant millennials. Again, I'm never knocking that, never that generation. I've met some brilliant people and I've learned so much from everyone. But let's be real. Like you said, I need you to understand if how can I come to you if I'm talking to you about classroom management? I need you to be able to tell me what I need to do to tighten up. Don't come in there and say, well, when I walk in, I don't have any issue. Duh, you're your authority figure. Automatically, kids know to conform.
Thank you. Thank you. Of
Automatically.
course when admin walks in,
Duh.
then they go clinch up. But I'm saying, what happened before you were admin?
Exactly. So tell me what strategy you use to get your class together. I mean, everything from how did the bulletin board look when you were in the classroom? How was your furniture decorated? Because we all know young people, just like we do, we learn in environments that we're comfortable in. If the environment is clean, if the environment is just cozy, We learn in those environments. We don't learn when it's chaotic. We don't learn when everything is all over the place. And make us so bad. And let's be real. Children emulate what the environment they're in. If you ever see a kid cut up in a classroom and that classroom is junky, you understand why. You're not going to see that same foolishness in a class where the teacher says, get that room. You're not going to see that because in their mind, hold on, this is an environment to respect. This is an environment. Oh, this environment is this. Oh, my teacher, he or she, they take pride in ensuring the tables are clean. So we're going to do our part. It is indoctrinated in them. But again, I need you as my admin to have A through Z in terms of solutions from me. If I
Mm.
come in, I'm brand new, and I shouldn't be a bother to you. I shouldn't be yeah, I mean it shouldn't be you see me coming, you roll your eyes. You are my leader. I should be able to come to you for pointers. And you should be able to not show me, but tell me this is what I know works. This is what I used to do. And research shows this. I need you to bring it to me in multiple different ways versus you coming in there hollering. What does yelling really do? Let's tell the truth. You know, I, it gets on my nerves to be around them yelling teachers. What do you think
I'm
that's
sorry.
really
I'm
doing?
I'm the yelling teacher. I can't even front. And the thing is, you know what? It's because I can't do anything else. Like I was an ass whooping parent. Okay. But I can't do that in my place of work. So they'd be like, "Well, how did you get seeing results with your son?" Yeah, shoot, hey, I grew up in he grew up in an ass kicking house. I
Yeah.
grew up in an ass kicking house. These kids obviously don't. So what you want me to do?
Now, see, here's my thing. I don't mind if every now and then you got to slam your door and you got to get with them. That's fine. But
I hate
there,
that about my doors now as opposed to then. We got those doors that you got to put stoppers in, and then when you put a stopper out, it closes very slowly. Like
oh, so
it's like y'all don't understand. Like slamming a door is a dramatic effect, and
it's dramatic.
I used to use it when I was at my previous place of employment.
Yeah. But again, every now and then you gotta close that door and say, look, don't get this thing twisted. What you're not gonna do is blah 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 blah. But every single day, that's just like the parent
Uh,
always telling their child, hold on, you got one more time, you got one more time, you got one more time. That kid has counted 25 times that you have said, you got one more time, you got one more. Come on now. It's it doesn't even have any weight at that point.
at that
And
point,
some
correct.
and people understand by the time you get to the place where you're yelling, by the time you get to that place where you have lost it, you have no control and you can no longer control your narrative. This is the generation of kids that do this. You gotta tread lightly. And yelling doesn't mean that, "Oh, I'm the adult." They know you are. So who are you reminding?
I don't think I
It's a
don't think they
different.
care anymore. Like of all the hard lines that's been blurred, even that line has been shaded.
But you know what I realized? I told
What's
a
that?
class the other day, I would say, all right, guys, have a seat. All right, guys, have a seat. And the finance says, wait a minute, hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. I looked around and you know I'm dramatic. I went outside, looked at my room. I says, you all do realize whose class you're in, right? Yes, ma'am. I says, okay, help me understand, when do I speak more than once about the same thing? You don't? I said, so hold on. I said 3 times politely, have a seat, have a seat. You all didn't execute. But oh, I understand because I'm speaking a language that's foreign to you. I said, young men, young women, have a seat. Ladies, have a seat. Gentlemen, have a seat. You don't know what that means. If I said, sit your MF and beep down, before I beep, 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 instantly you conform. I'm not knocking anyone's household. But see, I'm using language that builds. I'm using terminology that should empower. But if you're in environments and you a little MF,
Yeah.
You a B, you this, you that. When
Dealing
I'm
with
saying
niggas,
ladies have a
bitches, and
seat,
hoes. Right.
yeah. When I'm saying ladies have a seat, who's a lady? What does that? So I told him, I says, listen, I'm speaking life into you. And because that's foreign, you don't know how to conform. But I'm gonna tell you what, I will never conform to your way. You here is the bar, and you will rise to the occasion.
But see,
You have no
that's the
choice.
thing, though. They keep telling us that we have to meet them where they are. It's like, no. I always said, why not make them reach up to where I am? And like, not necessarily exactly where I am, but reach up to my level of expectation.
I will meet them where they are academically. I will not meet them where they are socially. I will meet you where you are academically. I don't care. I will break down a subject 50, 1100 times if I have to. If you don't get it, why can I can't move on. My spirit won't let me move on if you haven't mastered this. Now, I'm not going to go at a snail's pace forever, but I'm going to do something. I'm going to tutor. I'll offer this. I'll do videos, put it on camera, whatever. But you will conform to my way of respect. You have no choice. I will not reference you as a bad bee. I'm not going to call a young man a little immature. I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to call you a gentleman. Now I'm an old king. I'm not going to do that either.
I
I'm
ain't gonna
going
do all
to
that.
I'm going to speak life into you. And you're going to conform because guess what? At your age, when you call my name, Miss Parker, I say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. I give respect. Therefore, I command it. You're going to rise to the occasion socially because that's how I can meet you where you are academically. Because let's be real, children don't learn in environments that they don't respect. If the teacher has no control, that child will not retain that information. They just transfer over, get into that next grade, and they are stuck. They don't learn in environments where there's chaos. So I'm going to meet you where you are academically, but no, you got to rise to the occasion. When it comes to my room, you are going to rise to the occasion socially. That's how I can get to the meat of the problem. I'm sorry.
I get that.
Nope.
I get that. So, last thought. going back into our last, going back into the meat of the conversations where we have present dads, but we don't have that. We're not getting the results. I guess we feel like we should have.
Hmm.
The results that we feel like we should get from present dads, both haven't been products of present dads, and the results we got from it, and the results that came from our generation versus what's happening now with dads who are present, but the generation is very, very, very soft. And I'm that's the nicest word I could use. I promise you. I could think about
Absolutely.
30 words, but soft is the best way I could go with it.
Absolutely. And the safest.
Is there a fix? And if so, what?
I think I think we go back to the drawing board. We kind of have no choice. And I think those millennial dads need to honestly have a conversation with, and if their dads weren't present, there was a male figure, a teacher, a coach, an uncle, a cousin. There was a male figure. There was someone. And I think it's important to realize you don't know what you don't know. So therefore, always go back to your source. I think one of the things that makes me a great person is that I make sure weekly, while I'm still blessed to have her, I sit at my mother's feet, metaphorically. I, she counsels me. If I'm getting ready to have a moment, I call my mom. Yeah. Now I don't call all the time, but if I need to throw things at her, or if I need to unpack something, I'm going to go there. Why? Because while she's here, I know that there's wisdom there. I know that there's wisdom there. And no, I don't always agree with everything that she says, but the wisdom you cannot deny. And I think that's where we got to get back to. Generation X has to take ownership for what we see. This is our fault. This is our fault. So we can spend time complaining that our young ladies are crass. that they're not feminine. We can spend time complaining that our young men are butt tissue soft. We can do all that. Or we can do something about it. One young person at a time.
But you know
You
what?
know,
It
have a
goes
conversation.
it goes past that because and one of the things that I've experienced, particularly in this thing called parenthood, is that when those boomers become grandparents, they're not the same parents they were.
But see,
They used to kick your ass in your ass, but it's like now it's like no. Give them a space to let them express itself.
but
I
here's the
was
thing.
always told if you know what I'm saying. Well, how did it go? If I wanted your opinion, I'd have gave it to you.
But here's the thing. That's their right, though. It's a rite of passage. I,
It is their rite of passage, and I agree with that.
it's,
But going
it's their right.
going back to that, you're going to yield different results. They're not the same. They're not the same parents who parented you now that they're grandparents or possibly great grandparents.
But here's the thing. I will say, and again, I saw this. I remember as a little girl, and yeah, my father, he was a girl dad. So before Kobe was, my dad was a girl dad, all girls. And we were spoiled. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, we were spoiled. We weren't brats though. But yeah, we were spoiled, taken care of. We were spoiled. But I've never seen my dad, who was just as alpha man, just unga bunga, whatever. He was just that dude. And my mom was that lady. I've never seen them be a big wusses until they became grandparents. Boy, when I'll never forget one day, my niece, she was 1 years old, and she was used to grandpa comes home on this day and brings me a Happy Meal. Keep in mind, during that time, McDonald's, you probably got that once every 3 months because mom cooked every day.
You're the
So it got to a point where my niece was about one and first grandbaby. That little booger wanted a cheeseburger Happy Meal from McDonald's. And she knew this day grandpa's gonna bring this. Came home and didn't have that Happy Meal. And my niece fell out and threw a tantrum and says, I want a Happy Meal. You know what my daddy did? Put his coat back on. I said, oh no, sir, where are you going? Where are you going? And his thing's mind your business. No, are you serious? That man who ruled with an iron fist put his coat back on and went out that door and got his grandbaby and had the audacity to apologize to the little runt. Tell me, well, grandpa, sorry. What? Are you serious? But then I
I
realized,
grew up in that time where you cry and I give you something to cry about. And I never forget
yes,
one time my son was crying unnecessarily, and all my parents would say was, "Oh, he expressing himself." Expressing what?
but
What?
if but if we
What?
but if we tell the truth,
Homebody seals. What?
but if we tell the truth about our parents who are boomers, when we had to spank a little tail surrounding our, I don't have any biologically, but I've raised godchildren, I've beautiful godchildren. And I remember when I had to tag a little butt, my mother and dad, they would kind of sit quiet and they would look, they wouldn't interrupt. And they hated, oh no, because you spanking their grandbabies. Oh no. They hated it. But they did not interrupt because they knew it had to happen,
It gotta be
but they
done.
didn't like that it happened. And
They
then we
didn't.
would look at
They didn't want to be the ones to do it, but shoot, I remember it used to look like Monday Night Raw at my house, and I was
what?
giving whipping. Oh my god! Like tag my dad in, he coming off the top rope with the elbow, all kind of crazy shit.
Man, listen, the worst thing ever used to be, well, if you got in trouble, and if mama would say to us, all right, all right, meant that it wasn't gonna be all right because that backup of hers, once he get home,
Hmm.
it was a done deal. Now keep in mind, my mother, you can ask any relative I have, any cousin that I have, and my mother, uh, Father Henry and Myrtle. That's their governments. But nickname wise, it was Uncle Parker and Aunt Weedy. Not like Wheaty. So Aunt Weedy. That's how they reference my parents. And when I tell you they were that couple, Aunt Weedy
Mm.
was not one to play with. And it's funny now to see my cousins around her. They'll say, Aunt Weedy, I said a curse word. Ha ha ha. Aunt Weedy, I did this. Because everyone knew that's the one that's gonna get you. And if she didn't get you, you ain't want Parker to get you. They were a double whammy.
Well,
And
no,
that's one thing.
no, Uncle
You
P. Hell nah.
and listen, and the two of them, you could not play them against each other. No,
No,
that their children couldn't. They were a unit.
you gotta
You could
think
not play
they
them.
had a synchronicity that started in like high school.
Listen, they no. I mean, their connection was just something to see. But yeah,
Right.
oh no, you couldn't play them against each other. But but yeah, but in saying all that, going back to like I said, the biggest issue is I remember our generation still getting that coaching from our older generation. We were the ones that stopped. We stopped because for some reason we allowed it to come into our mind that at 18 parenting stops. No, that's when that crap
That
begins.
that's when it kicks in the high gear.
That's when it begins. It's
Hmm.
I'll tell anybody, it is easy. Well, let me fix my words. It is not as difficult as people make it seem to get a child from point A to 18. Because why? You still have rules. You still have the
Mm,
capability to discipline. Hold on. Well, stay with me here. It is not as hard as people make it seem. As long as you have that structure, you have that discipline, you have this, and that. But when they turn 18 and society tells them you're grown, and society tells them that they're this, and they begin believing that, and then the parent, well, should they grown? Wait a minute, your child just cussed you out. Should they know better? Hold on. We never even thought about crossing that line. What is going? And that's the problem. See, parenting didn't stop when you turned 18. The last whooping I got from my mother, I was 23 years old. I called myself raising my voice, and I got hit in the crease of my back with a wet dish towel.
shit.
Knees buckled. Bam,
Ooh,
I'm on the ground. Mama, why you do that?
your mama hit you with a rat tail? What? Had
What?
to water it like
20,
caca.
23. But I will say, and she'll even confirm it, that was the first and last time that I ever raised my voice to my mother. I know I do not raise my voice to her nor my dad. I didn't do that. I didn't disrespect my aunts, my uncles. That was not this kid here. I might disagree, and I might go back and forth with you, but I did not raise my voice. I didn't curse at my parents. None of that stuff. I know
Mm-mm,
I never did that. This
mm-mm.
one day, I just felt froggy, and I got hit in the crease of my darn back with a wet dish towel. And you know what I did? Got myself off the floor because I just collapsed. My knees buckled. I was
I'm gonna
23
be honest
years
with you.
old.
That rat tail hit like a gunshot, depending on
What?
how good they snap it. Yeah.
And listen, and she's a pro. But I was 23. So people don't understand. They're forever your parent.
Hmm.
Discipline doesn't stop at 18. Are you serious? We were the ones that allowed that to be indoctrinated in our children, and we allowed this foolishness to come to fruition. No, that's when parenting truly starts. Because guess what? You got to get them through life now. They've gotten the educational foundational skills, but what about life? We know there are certain topics that the academic system does not teach. Survival, it don't teach real life. It doesn't. It
Income
give
tax.
it right. It don't. It doesn't. It focuses more on specific content.
Hmm.
So you still need a level of education when it comes to your character, when it comes to how you identify in the world. you still need that education. You still need that parent. You still need guidance. When you come out of college, you buy your first home, whether it's 20, 30, 40, you're going to need somebody to walk you through that. Parenting does not stop at 18, it begins. So we were the ones that created this. I will give credit to the older millennial parents who have said, no, our children can stay home a little bit longer. See, we were the ones that said, 18, you gotta go. They're not ready. They're not ready. Boomers didn't kick their parents, boomers didn't kick their children out.
Like hell they didn't.
They're,
Boomers kick their kids out at like 16, some of them.
no, but no, I know people that went into 30s and 40s and were still living at home. As weird as it may sound. Now they might say, hey, don't you want to do X, Y, and Z? Now,
Was it that one that they deemed a little slow, he a little different, he a little special? Cause
well,
I don't
well,
know.
well,
I know there were some situations where boomers were able to come back or what have you. But yeah, no, like 16, 17, 18, there was either the military, the field, the factory. You figure do some goddamn.
but
And that's why
even
so many of them got married so young because you can't do this shit
yeah,
by myself.
but even if you left, you got married, it didn't work. You like you said, you were able to come back. I will say a lot of these older millennials who have children, they'll say, no, my child can stay a little bit longer because they're not ready to navigate that. So there are some things that X got to take credit. We got to go ahead and take ownership of this. We dropped the ball. So we need to go ahead and get it back because look at what us dropping the ball, look at what it has produced.
I'm gonna be honest. X gotta be the new big mama.
We have no choice.
X gotta
We
be the new big mama.
we have no
The
choice.
the boomers, their job is done. And truthfully, nobody's gonna listen to the boomers. Nobody's gonna
X
listen to them
will.
no more. They don't have the same reverence we have for them with with say Gen Z and Alpha.
Right.
Or they just old. You know what I'm saying? And they look at us the same way. Like truthfully, X and the top of Y, we the old heads now. Like it's crazy, but at the same time, it's like I think we these new generations are the type that they want to see it. So you could
They
tell them the beauty of education, but then they'll see their favorite rapper with no high school diploma with stacks of money on IG, and it's like, yeah, but he rich. It's like, no, he's not.
yeah.
That's his advancement. That's the label money.
But you know what? I've heard many artists use their platform, and many of them have spoken about this, especially the one of my favorite banner. I've heard him say, these young people nowadays, if you can't show them how to either get that girl, that guy they want, or you can't show them how to get money, what you have to say is null and void.
It's
They
irrelevant.
they want you to, you're right, you have to show them
You just gotta
this
show them because
this
okay,
gets you this.
one of my favorite rappers. He comes from your home state, Lupe Fiasco.
Hmm.
Got to be one of the most intelligent rappers I've ever heard in my life.
Very.
Nobody checks for him because he's like the nerd nobody paid attention to, but he's got to be the smartest person in the building.
Yes.
But you
Yes.
don't see cars, jewels, or clothes, so it's just like, oh, this dude couldn't possibly know what he was talking about. Lupe raps. Every album is like another volume of an encyclopedia,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I got just about everything Lupe has made.
Hmm.
Everything outside of the first food and liquor I own, and but yet nobody checks for him because he doesn't wear his success. And I'm gonna be the one to tell you, I don't think Lupe's broke. Lupe's not. Lupe's not a struggling artist. I'm pretty sure his royalties are intact. And plus, he can go to Japan right now and do a show, and they treat him like royalty.
Absolutely.
You know, like his
Absolutely.
last album was called Samurai, so not American culture based. I don't know if you noticed, but nonetheless, like and so I don't know what it is there to draw that connect because somebody was talking about, oh, all the kids running around claiming this set, claiming that set. They need to let Hoover out. I'm gonna be honest with you. That would be a waste of time. The kids ain't gonna listen to Hoover.
Right.
You the old head. You got locked up. You been locked up 30, 40 years now. Like ain't nobody trying to hear him.
But the thing is, the kids might not try to hear him, but the ones who allowed those kids to get too far, he could speak to them. And
Yeah,
see
but the
that
problem is, look at what you just said. The kids that went too far. Like these kids are nuts. They will be the type to try to kill a OG. Like I mean, we talking about triple OG at this point, like Hoover, just to say I did it. They are that nutty.
that's yeah, uh, uh, yeah.
It
But
would be suicidal.
big time. I
Yeah,
was just getting ready to say that.
right.
Yeah,
Because I'm gonna
big
be
time.
honest, Max X ain't even safe for you at that point. However, just to say you did it, I think there will be a kid born somewhere after 1995 that said, "I'ma do it."
Just because, right, I'm gonna do it, and they're not gonna stop and think like, huh, why hasn't this been done? Oh my gosh, am I the first to think of this? If you think you're the first to think of that, there's a reason it hadn't been done. See, they don't, but again, the lack of common sense, the lack of being street smart, it's just, yeah, we have our work cut out for us. And
Yeah,
but it starts with accountability. This is
you
what
have to admit
we
that there's a
did
problem
wrong.
first.
Say it again.
You have to admit first.
That
Admittance is the first step.
that's where it starts. And again, taking
Do you think
accountability,
Gen X is ready for that though? It's a heavy pill to swallow that three generations
absolutely.
later we're in what we're in now.
I'll say this: Generation X is capable of unraveling this issue. Are they ready to admit that this is an issue? Absolutely, positively not. Because that means I have to look in the mirror and I have to say, I effed up. And that is
Hmm.
the hardest battle many people face is with who they look at every single day, which is why you see, oh my gosh, you see so many people settling for different things, settling for mediocre treatment, whether it's in personal relationships or it's how you present yourself. Sometimes you have to just say it's me. I'm the problem. It's not you, it's me. Because I can't control what you do. I can control how I respond to this. So, but it's easier to say, I yelled because you made me. I didn't, how? How did somebody make you do anything? It's the lack of accountability because where there's accountability, there's responsibility.
Hmm. Interesting enough, and this is my last point. We talk about Gen X and what they created. I'm watching TV earlier. MC Light's on there. MC
Uh-huh.
Light, in my opinion, top three female lyricists all time.
Absolutely.
I just have this back and forth with her and Latifah, and then Missy Elliott, but that's my back and forth.
Yeah.
Uh, um, but when they asked Light, they asked her, and I like how she answered this. She kept it a buck. Matter of fact, she kept it a buck 50. They asked her who were the female artists from this era that she likes or she listened to. Now the political or the popular answer would have been like the Gorillas and the Sexy Reds and all them. No, she names Rhapsody, the sister out of North Carolina. And she names like two more, but when they showing pictures of these sisters, they all got their clothes on. These are sisters you ain't heard of. She's not naming the Cardis, the Megs, the Glorillas, the Sexy Red. She named none of them. She named Rhapsody and two other sisters with their clothes on.
Because what people don't understand is like Queen Latifah, Money Love, people like that. No, not Raw. Oh my gosh, why am I, Miss Melody?
Mhm.
Hold on. I see her, Roxanne. Yeah,
Roxanne
women,
Shante, yeah.
women like that. They had something that Meg and them don't. Talent. See, when the talent is there, when the talent is there, the ass ain't bare.
That's
There
why
you
I
go.
would, that's what I always said about Lizzo. I
There,
caught a lot I caught a lot of heat about that, but I
you
digress.
know. that's a totally different subject that we need to unpack one day. Because like I said,
Look, I got a platform.
I have a I'll say this. I have a respect for any woman, no matter age, race, color, whether you fit the norm or society's version of beauty, whatever. I have a respect for any woman who says, I matter. I'm beautiful right where I am. I respect that. But the problem with that is that can sometimes come across as delusion. And I'll leave it at that.
Let
I'll
these
leave it at
people
that.
know how they can follow you, what you got coming up next, just what you got going on.
Oh, good grief. Well, I'm right here on this little app called Facebook. Yeah, I'm on Instagram here or there, but definitely you can follow me here on Facebook. Of course, if you ever see my if I'm not cracking a goofy joke, or if I'm not talking about something sports related, like my personal life does not exist in terms of social media. But yeah, I try my best to kind of do something kind of goofy or talk about sports here or there because you just never know who's going through. You never know who's dealing with something. So sometimes you're scrolling and everybody's angry and you just see the dumbest knock joke. Well, then remember the heck, I put that smile on your face. Guess what?
That
Because
is
guess
true.
what?
That
Right.
is true.
Because
That
again, life is lifing right now. So we want to always kind of just stop and do something as simple as laugh. It's so therapeutic. But yeah, I'm here on Facebook, on Instagram as well. But what do I have going on? Oh, loving life right now, loving life. And again, I'll share at a different time, at a different time last year, what the good Lord allowed me to deal with and how it could have went in a different direction. But thank God I'm still here. But yeah, I'm I have a lot coming up, and I have learned in this season in my life things that I do have coming up. I need to kind of shh about, but just stay tuned. Stay tuned.
mm,
Stay tuned.
absolutely. Absolutely. And the same here. You can find me at Team OTB or Team on the Building on all your social platforms. What do I have next? Oh, like I said, if you have anyone 30 and under that want to come win some money, Take My Black Card is looking for contestants. So just let me know when. And yeah, Take My Black Card is coming up. That's coming up with I'm trying to have that done in another week or so, just because I'm ready to one, have some fun, and two, I'm gonna give away some money. Also, Dope Live Show is still in the works. It is still in the works. It's not going nowhere, people. So the Dope Live Show will be happening. Also, merchandise is going to be coming out as well. So just make sure you're in line to get that OTB shirt. And if it don't have that logo right there on the sleeve, I don't know where you got it from. Then we looking at you crazy at that point. Bootlegs exist everywhere. But yeah, Team OTB, Team on the Building on all your social platforms. Thank you everybody who stopped in, checked in, the likes, the shares, the comments. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Miss Parker, for coming through and kicking it with me once again, like how we always do.
Absolutely. That
you
planning
know.
period.
Oh, and definitely ISS crew. Like, yo, the ISS show that's definitely coming up soon. Cause I mean, how much fun is the planet period when you ain't got people in ISS acting a nut?
Man,
So
listen.
there's that. So the ISS crew is definitely coming up soon. So definitely be on the lookout for that. I end every show like uh I end this show like I end all my shows. Imitation is a sincere form of flattery that mediocrity compared to greatness. I am DJ Agony. That is Miss Parker. I'm dope. She's dope. East Point, smoke some dank. And we out. Peace.
Good night, everyone.